NBC Sports, home of the NASCAR race for the championship. This is the Discover Card Countdown to Greenwood as we get ready to go racing.
It's just past high noon in the wild, wild west. Time for a showdown between two Winston Cup veterans. And this duel in the desert could decide the Winston Cup Championship, capping a season of excitement where we have seen the stars of the sport shine like the Arizona sun. They have all raced. Many have challenged. A few have won. But in the chase for the Winston Cup Championship, just two are left. Never have the stars of the sport shined more brightly than they have this season. A season that started with surprise.
It's going to be Ward Burton.
Has sparkled with promise.
Way to go, boys!
Passion.
End of the winless streak.
And pride. We have learned there is no age limit on winning. The young want it. The not-so-young want it more. These are the competitors that put the purpose in competing and make the ultimate prize worth capturing.
Johnny Benson is a NASCAR Winston Cup winner.
The Winston Cup is more than a trophy. It is a tribute to the commitment, sacrifice, dedication, and desire that is required to hoist it.
Tony Stewart in his third win of the season.
Two men.
Again in the championship.
Two races. One mission. Victory lane awaits. So does the trophy. And now is the time to honor the stars of the series. The men for whom we cheer. The men who face the challenge. The men who add valor to victory. And make the winner a champion. NBC Sports welcomes you to Phoenix as Home Depot presents the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. A warm, sunny, breezy day in the desert, temperature climbing to 76 degrees. And things should really heat up later this afternoon on the track. Hi everybody, welcome to Phoenix. I'm Bill Weber. 2 races to go, and the math right now is very easy. If Tony Stewart leaves here with a 185-point lead in the championship standings, he is the new Winston Cup champion. He currently has a 112-point edge over Mark Martin. If Stewart gains 73 points on Martin today, Tony takes the title. Right now, Stewart is standing by with Matt Yocum.
And Bill, the scenario is very simple. The challenge big to clinch the title today. Stewart has to win with Mark Martin finishing 26th or worse. You start 16th on the grid. How is that race car today?
Well, I think it'll be better than it was yesterday. Our crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, thought the Home Depot Pontiac was pretty good yesterday, but I felt like we needed to be better. So we just kept working on it and, sat down after happy hour was over and discussed some changes. So, we're pretty aggressive today on our changes. So I think it's going to make it a lot better.
Now, your fans would love to see you clinch today. A lot of your heroes like A.J. Foyt would love to see you clinch today. But looking at Phoenix and Homestead combined, you've won 3 times. Which track do you have more confidence?
To be honest, you would think I'd be more confident here. I mean, I've won in the Winston Cup car, midget, and the Silver Crown car here, and I've run second in Indy cars and super modifieds. But the way we've run at Homestead the last 3 years, I mean, we've just been really, really good there. So, if these changes work out good today, I think we'll have a great day here today. But if not, I'm looking forward to an extremely good weekend next weekend for sure.
Well, he's trying to downplay the championship. I mean, he may have to talk about it, Bill, at day's end if his past history comes back here at Phoenix.
Absolutely, Matt. Now, Mark Martin left Rockingham 87 behind Stewart in the championship standings, but in post-race inspection, his left front spring was found to be illegal. Martin was fined 25 driver points, Jack Roush 25 owner points, and crew chief Ben Leslie $5,000 because the left front spring did not have the minimum requirement of 4.5 coils. It was approximately 1/8 of a coil short. That's the area we have taped on this similar but not identical spring, approximately 1 inch in length. The 25-point penalty dropped Mark 112 behind Stewart. Roush Racing has 10 days to appeal. They have hinted about legal action. Jack Roush declined an NBC invitation to discuss the penalty. But in the garage on Friday, crew chief Ben Leslie told me he was shocked when NASCAR said the spring was illegal. It was purchased from an authorized vendor and bought from an approved manufacturer that the team has used many times in the past.
You check the first 15, 20, 50 of their product, and then, you know, if everything checks out without any type of glitches, you just assume that everything is okay. They had a defect in their line, and a run of springs come off that ended up being short. Unfortunately, we ended up getting 2 of them. One of them got in the car, and the biggest thing is there's just an oversight. You know, the responsibility still falls back on our shoulders. We should check everything that we put in the car.
Fans might think, since you're running for a championship, you're obviously looking for everything that will give you an advantage, and this might be determined in that thing.
Well, that would be true in one sense. The other side is NASCAR's been awful strict as far as taking points, so we're not going to risk anything to take points. For there to be any advantage whatsoever, it would have to be 6 or 8 inches short. It'd have to be a half a coil to 3/4 of a whole coil short to be any performance advantage. And even then, you know, it's marginal, especially at a place like Rockingham.
And for NASCAR, the competitors and the fans, that's the tough part. Interpreting the intent, then enforcing the rules. In this case, being consistent was more important than being compassionate. You must feel awful.
Yeah, it's a huge disappointment. You know, we was kind of hoping that they would look at it on an individual basis, seeing how it was kind of a manufacturer's defect. It wasn't a performance advantage or a manipulation of the spring to gain a performance advantage. But it's another thing if you're trying to just be as conservative as possible, and you miss something, and you get an infraction imposed on you.
And now for Mark Martin's side of things. Mark, we just heard from your crew chief, Ben Leslie, and obviously this has been very devastating for your guys. Can you bring them back from this, Mark?
I really don't know. You know, we're pretty far back, but we've experienced a series of bad races. It's always possible. I know one thing. I've given it everything that I had this year, and will never stop doing that as long as I race. And I can't do any more than that.
The 25 points will hurt. Can you still win this championship, Mark, with 2 races left?
It's my contention that if we're lucky enough to win this thing, or lucky enough to get within 25, that we'll win it. I think that we need to be, you know, very fortunate to be realistic about it. And so, you know, maybe this is the last 2 weeks are the weeks for the Viagra Taurus, and maybe it's not someone else's 2 weeks.
Well, there's no better time to recover than Phoenix. He is excellent here in his last 10 races, Bill. 6 times he's finished first or second.
Thank you, Marty. In 1990, Mark Martin and Roush Racing were fined 46 points for an unapproved carburetor spacer plate. Mark finished second in the championship standings that year to Dale Earnhardt by 26 points. In 1999, Greg Biffle and Roush Racing were fined 120 points for an unapproved manifold in the Craftsman Truck Series. Biffle finished second that season in the standings by 8 points. Last week, it looked like Mark Martin was going back to victory lane at the Rock, but the 6 car finished second to a perfect 10. It's been a strange season for Johnny Benson. In May, a hard crash in the Busch race at Richmond left him with rib cage injuries that kept him out of the next 3 races. Then, just a month after getting back in the car, Benson slammed the wall at Daytona and suffered additional rib cage injuries. He missed the next 2 races. But in the last month, Benson's season has taken a new turn. At Martinsville, he battled his way through the field and nearly chased down Kurt Busch for the victory. Then last Sunday, he came to Rockingham, still looking for his first Winston Cup win.
One final charge off the last corner. Johnny Benson is a NASCAR Winston Cup winner. Johnny Benson in his 226th Winston Cup start. Victory number 1.
First thing he just thought was,
Finally.
What took you so long?
Man, I kind of hoping they don't ask me how long it's going to take for the second one. That first one took forever, but I'm real happy. I mean, Valvoline guys obviously extremely happy. All the pit crew, just everybody done a fabulous job.
It will always say Johnny Benson, Winston Cup winner now whenever they refer to him.
Well, I mean, that's pretty cool, but it's a team that did it, not just me. I mean, it's a Valvoline team that won that race, not Johnny Benson. So it's just a cool deal. Like I say, I mean, I understand how everybody feels about it. I hated it took as long as it did. Maybe the second one won't come near as long.
Have you thought back to the days at Bahar? You brought that up last week, the days at Roush, and finally your days now?
Well, we've been so close so many times, you know, with Bahari, with Roush Racing, of course, even with the 10 team here at Valvoline. And it's just so hard. I mean, it's so competitive, and we always felt that we could win the race, and finally we've been able to put it all together and hopefully get a couple more.
Can you get one today?
We sure hope so. I mean, we were decent in happy hour, not quite as good as what you want to be. Of course, James Ince, man, I'll tell you what, he's so good at not guessing by any means, but making changes before the race, and last week was a great example. 38th quick on the sheet, takes and changes everything, and he says, I think it'll be okay. And I told him I'll let him know, and it was good. So the changes are made today. Who knows? We might be there at the end.
All right, well, congratulations. They're starting driver introductions. You head over there. Good luck today.
All right, thank you.
Johnny Benson coming off the win last week at Rockingham. Still ahead as the countdown continues live from Phoenix. We'll have plenty of stuff, including Dave discovering garage reaction to the Mark Martin penalty. And next, the Golden Benny is awarded, but will the winner accept?
Discover Card Countdown to Green is brought to you by Discover Card. It pays to discover. By NASCAR Thunder 2003 from EA Sports. If it's in the game, it's in the game. And by Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme. It's chicken on a higher level.
Kurt Busch won back-to-back races. Then last week, his crew chief, Jimmy Fenning, was presented with the Golden Benny. Only Jimmy didn't accept. It seems some of the superstitious guys back in the Winston Cup garage area believe the Golden Benny might be cursed. Well, last week, Busch had a good finish, third, climbed to fifth in the points. So has the curse been broken? Let's find out.
Johnny Benson and James Ince have been working together since the 2000 Daytona 500. During Speed Weeks that year, Johnny was driving an unsponsored white car. Then on the morning of the Daytona 500, the team finally got financial support from Lycos. Still, few people expected much from the 10 car, but the James-Johnny combination put the team in contention to win, and they were actually leading until Dale Jarrett passed Johnny with 4 laps to go. Since that 12th place finish at Daytona, they have come close to winning several times, including a 2nd place finish 2 weeks ago at Martinsville. Then, last week, after 98 NASCAR Winston Cup races together, James and Johnny finally got to victory lane. And for that, the 10 team gets this week's Golden Benny. Bill, I got a problem.
What's going on, Benny?
I mean, here it's about 12:15, isn't it? I told James Ince he was going to get the Golden Benny to be here at 12:10.
I don't see anybody.
There's not a soul here, Bill. I mean, you think there really is a curse involved? These guys don't want the trophy?
What do you think it means, Benny? That could be the case.
I don't know. I told these guys plainly to be here, and there's no one here.
Hey, look behind you.
Hey, guys, come here. Hey, guys, come here. Here's the Golden Benny. Come here. Here. Guys, come on, here.
Uh-oh. Wow.
We got a problem, Bill.
You better hang on to that. I'll tell you fans something. If he puts that in his car, I'm finding a different way back to the hotel. At mid-season, NASCAR decided to start handing out point penalties for violations found in inspection. It seems monetary fines didn't do much to slow the trend of bending the rules to make your car just a little bit better. Well, some strange things have happened since then. Mark Martin's 25-point penalty from last week has a lot of guys in the garage area thinking this weekend, but not necessarily talking. Today, Dave discovers that the race doesn't always finish with a checkered flag.
No, Bill, it actually finishes right here in technical inspection about 3 hours after the event. This is where Mark Martin's car failed, and when it did, NASCAR handed out a penalty that evoked comments like these from the competitors.
When you are in a battle for a point championship that could mean millions of dollars and certainly the opportunity to win a Winston Cup, you definitely have to make sure that the way that we enforce the rules is consistent.
I feel for them. They probably felt like they had to do something. I feel for Jack and Mark. I'm sure they feel like it's an electric chair for a parking ticket, and a lot of people would probably agree with that. I don't really have an opinion. I just know it's a really difficult situation.
I would have, lobbied for them to double the fine from set a new record for the fine, but let the guys, the guys on that team work extremely hard. Leave the points like it is. Let's have a points race these next 2 races.
All right, so let's talk about technical inspection. It happens 5 times each race weekend. Before the cars are ever allowed on the track, they have to go through technical inspection, and the officials mark off literally everything on this sheet, including the circled area which says front suspension travel stops. That's the area that covers the front springs. When an official puts his initials on there, he's basically saying, I've seen 2 front springs on the car that match the rules. In other words, 4.5 coils evenly spaced. But on Sunday morning, in fact, just moments ago, the cars went through here. This sheet is not used. And if I've changed anything on here as a crew chief, including springs, I better make sure that they conform to the rules. And in fact, that is perhaps the biggest part of what happened to Mark Martin. When his car started the race, actually started the race weekend, the inspectors saw good springs. When his car finished, they had changed some springs, and the one that was checked post-race was not legal. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. Great explanation on that. Election day is come and gone, but we want you to vote again. Log on to NBCSports.com and let us know how you feel about Springgate. We'll have the poll results later on. Still ahead, Wally, fresh from a top 10 finish yesterday, takes us for a lap around the track. And we'll talk to the underclassmen that have been overachievers in 2002.
Jimmy Johnson sweeps the Monster Mile this season. In just his 35th start, Ryan Newman goes to victory lane. Kurt Busch takes his 3rd victory of 2002. He wins the Napa 500.
Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, and Kurt Busch have combined for 7 wins this season. Johnson is 3rd in points, Newman is 4th, and Kurt Busch has climbed to 5th. Johnson is 27 years old, Newman is 25, Busch is 24. They have certainly emerged as stars this season. Can one of the kids on the grid win today? Let's find out. Here's Marty.
And Bill, people may be counting Ryan Newman out in terms of the race for the championship, but he and his team are not. But to be back in the game, Ryan, you've got to win today. Can you do that?
We're just going to try. That's all we can do. The All-Tail Ford's running pretty good. Happy Hour's pretty good, and the qualifying was great. So, great weekend so far. We'll see how things go.
There you go. At least he starts in the right spot for the 6th time this year. He'll lead the field to the green flag. Matt?
Marty, Jimmy Johnson, 3rd in points, 107 markers out of 2nd, which equates to about $390,000 at season's end. So you haven't won since Dover. You're racing more for a win or for points?
Really, the way everything's been going and who we're all racing for points, you're going to have to race for wins. I mean, Mark finished 2nd last week. Tony's been running strong. We got Ryan, who's been running awesome all the times right behind us in points. So we got a couple things on the line. We want to stay in the top 2 or 3, and you still want to win the championship, but it's going to be hard to do that. But stay in the top 2 or 3 in overall points. Win some races. Try to stay ahead of Ryan and the rookie, or catch him in the rookie of their points, and finish ahead of him in points. So
set the win record.
Yeah, there's all kinds of neat things that are on the line that we want to try to set the mark on. Finish higher than what Tony did in his rookie season. But it all starts with running well, and I screwed us up in qualifying, and we're going to have to fight back today, but we'll be good. I want to say hi to my parents at home, and my little brother busted his leg and playing some football, so I hope they're all doing good at home.
He starts all the way back in 37, twice this year he's done that. Both times he netted a top 10 finish. Dave?
Well, if you wonder if Kurt Busch is fast, yeah, he's fast. In fact, the truck he's riding on took off before I could get there. So as Kurt waves to the crowd, let's just remind you that he has already won 3 times this year. Kurt Busch is the real deal, as they say in the racing business. He's only 248 points out of the championship lead, but I think he can win a 4th time again here today. He's coming off a 3rd place finish just last weekend at Rockingham, and that was his 11th top 5 of the year. Kurt Busch definitely a contender here at Phoenix. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. Greg Biffle won the Busch Series championship here yesterday. Congratulations to him. Wally Dallenbach finished 9th in the race after starting 28th, despite being pestered all day on the radio by Michael Waltrip and Benny Parsons. Now that deserves a cowtail. How did Wally manage to find his way around this unique 1-mile track? Well, let's find out and take a ride in his No Boundaries Ford.
Welcome to Phoenix and my NBC No Boundaries Ford. Phoenix is a tricky place to get around because 1 and 2 is so different than 3 and 4. 1 and 2's banked, 3 and 4 is real flat. So you're going to have a compromise as a driver in the setup because you're never going to get the car set up just perfect. Take a lap around this place and I'll show you what I mean. Turn 1, you want to go in as deep as you possibly can. Slam on the brakes. Bring the car down low. Now the car's going to stay on the bottom here when the tires are good, but then it's going to drift up high. Right up against this wall on the exit. Into the dog leg. Drop it on the yellow. Bring it up high. Again, deep. But the thing is here, I like keeping the car down right on the bottom of the yellow line. Other guys will diamond this corner. You want to get on the gas hard, and it's going to throw you right up against this wall. Phoenix is a blast to drive as a driver, one of my favorite places. But it's very challenging for not only the driver, but for the crew, because you got to chase this racetrack all day long.
1 mile track, 312 laps for the NASCAR Winston Cup stars today here at Phoenix. Next, 2 Winston Cup veterans battling in the points race and on the track. Racing rivals renew a rusty relationship as the countdown roars on. Matt Kenseth is 8 in points. He starts 28th today. Dale Jarrett is hanging on to 9th in points. He starts next to Kenseth in 27th. Ricky Rudd is 10th in the point standings. He rolls off 24th here this afternoon. Rusty Wallace is 6th in the championship standings. Jeff Gordon is 7th. From 3rd to 7th in the standings, the separation is just 48 points. From Rusty to Jeff, it's just 1 point. But as we saw on the track once again last week, these two are often much closer than that.
Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace got into it a second ago.
Jeff has been doing everything he can to try to get around Rusty.
Giving no courtesy to anybody out here, and every time I try to pass him, he runs into me.
NASCAR Race Control is just calling out to the spotters of both cars to settle down.
Think he gave him a little bumper there?
Yes, he did.
You gotta go away.
The one that really caught my attention from my spot on pit lane was when I saw Rusty pushing Jeff all the way down the front straightaway. What was going on between you two?
I think it's just, me wanting to get a position and Rusty, wanting to try to get his lap back from the leaders if the caution came out. So, we're pretty good at putting that stuff behind us. Me and Rusty have had our little run-ins before, and we talk and laugh about it later. We're fierce competitors, and, we like to win, and I don't know if we like to get beat by one another very much either, but I told him the other day, I said, yeah, we weren't real happy with one another. I said, but you got to admit, that was a heck of a save I made going into one.
It was really good, and he finished a very competitive 5th. Marty's with a guy who finished 27th.
Indeed, Dave. Now for the other half of the story, Rusty, how do you, a veteran like yourself, handle a situation like you had with Jeff Gordon last week?
Man, you just do it, him and I have had our run-ins a lot, and I guess that Bristol thing's still stuck in my brain, and it just upset me a little bit, but I was kind of down on my luck last week. The hot rod wasn't running near as good as I wanted to. When he came by me, he got in my door pretty hard, knocked me sideways. I said, no, we don't do that, and I rammed him back. So then later on, he rammed me again, and this time I said, okay, I'm going to put a finishing touches on this deal. It's because I was getting pretty mad, and so I gave him a pretty good slide. He did a good job. He saved it, so he's cool. We had no problem with it. I don't take no crap from nobody, and he doesn't either, and so as long as we keep this up, nobody's going to win, but we're over it right now.
They do want to win. Rusty has not won in 60 races, but you know what, Bill? In 1998, he came here in the midst of a 58-race winless streak and won.
That's right. That was some pretty good stuff right there, wasn't it? Now, if you think that's something on the track, here are 2 other racing veterans that have been going at it for 2 years and are ready to go at it once again.
All right, Walter, you got a bunch of laps on this racetrack. Let's see if I can get you. Look, I can't turn 2 wall. Always gets me.
Uh-oh, now I'm in the grass. That's not good. That's not good. Oh, guy in front of me in the wall. That's you.
That's me.
See ya. I got to make the turn, though, don't I? Oh!
Well, huh?
Danny.
How'd you like that, huh?
Oh!
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come after you now.
I know. Oh,
where are you going, BP?
Just through the grass, that's all.
BP, I don't think we're going for the win on this race. I think it's going to be who's first caution.
This is survival. There's no doubt about this.
I'm definitely walking back to the hotel after this race. Mark Martin starts 7th today. He has 33 career wins. He won here in 1993. 5 times he has finished 2nd in this race. 3 times he has finished 2nd in the championship standings. In fact, Mark finished in the top 10 in the championship standings for 12 consecutive seasons, until last season when he finished 12th. Today, he's 2nd in the standings, 112 points out of 1st. Now, you don't have to look it up because we already did. Where? In the media guide, where Mark Martin's bio, believe it or not, begins on page 112. The countdown's at 0. The showdown is next.
This has been the Discover Card Countdown to Green. Let's go race it.
NBC Sports is live in Arizona as Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix. Tony Stewart leads the championship standings by 112 points. Today, he continues to chase the championship while many other drivers are trying to race their way to victory lane. Matt?
Bill, in 2002, America has been introduced to rookie winners Johnson, Newman, and McMurray. One name you might not be familiar with is Scott Whmer, but that could change by day's end. Whmer scored his 3rd Busch career win Saturday. He was 3rd quick in Winston Cup final practice. He starts 19th today. He could have a shot. Marty.
Matt, one of the big announcements this week was that Jimmy Spencer would not be back in this 41 car next year as the driver. But he told me a few moments ago he was surprised by the announcement and that he has 1 year left on his contract with Ganassi. And, quote, I've got a lot of things to work out next week with Chip. Dave?
Marty, no wins for Junior on a flat track this year, and no wins ever here at Phoenix in Busch or Winston Cup competition. Is he a threat today? Yes, he qualified 3rd. The team found something, and he will be near the front of the pack at the end today. Bill?
This is the 15th Winston Cup race in Phoenix. The deepest in the field any winner has started, 29th. Bobby Labonte is among the guys hoping to change that today. Getting ready for 312 miles on the 1 mile track at Phoenix. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Home Depot presents the 35th race of the Winston Cup season live from Phoenix, Arizona. 2 races remain. The season concludes next Sunday just south of Miami. 7 drivers are still mathematically eligible for the Winston Cup Championship. So wow, Tony Stewart and Mark Martin are squarely in the spotlight. If those 2 drivers stumble today and finish far back in the field, 5 more drivers could come charging into the championship picture. This is the day when we find out who holds and who folds. Up to the booth to Alan, Wally, and Benny.
Little extra excitement in the air today, Bill. The possibility the championship trophy could be in the house at the end of the day, or the race could tighten up to the final week at Homestead. BP, Tony Stewart has maintained all along he's not racing to protect that championship lead. Today, I don't know.
Well, no, they're still racing to win, but the crew wants this thing to be over. As you walk by the 20 car this week, they're not their usual selves. There's not that usual banter with everyone that goes by, with me, with you, with Wally, with everyone else. They're thinking about one thing, getting the championship behind them, and you can almost hear them say, "Whew, hope it's over soon."
Got to give you credit. Passed a lot of cars yesterday, Wally. I know you think this is a great racetrack.
Give me credit, folks. That's hard for him to do.
Yes, it is.
But yes, it's a great racetrack to race on because there are 2 different lines here. 1 and 2 is different than 3 and 4. You can't get the car perfect for this racetrack setup-wise, so you're going to have to do a lot of searching.
All right, let's get this thing going. Sold out grandstands, sunny weather. All we need now, the pre-race opening ceremony and the green flag.
About to start our race today. We begin with our invocation with Mr. Joe Gibbs.
Thank you, Father. Father, as we pause now, we just want to say thanks to you for loving us so much, that you were willing to create a world and put us in it, knowing that at times we were going to disappoint you. And then for providing your Son, Jesus Christ, for that way back to you. We thank you, all of us, for putting us in this country where we have freedom of choice. And we pray for our country and a moral awakening in America. Father, we just pray for the events today. We pray that they'll be safe and protect us on our way home. And we just say thanks to you. In that precious name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to have a return visit by this gentleman who's performed before thousands at the NFL Super Bowl and here at Phoenix International Raceway. World-renowned trumpeter and artist, Mr. Jesse McGuire, to perform our national anthem.
Tomorrow's headlines read, will Mark Martin close the gap, or can Tony Stewart outdistance the field and take the title today? The green flag is next from Phoenix.
Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix. Brought to you by The Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Ford, no boundaries. By Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, cold down easy. And by Autotrader.com. Sell your car fast on the ultimate automotive classified site.
NASCAR on NBC live in the Valley of the Sun at Phoenix International Raceway, where the 43 starters in today's Checker Auto Parts 500 are rolling out onto this mile track. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is proud to sponsor the Bud Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. How about rookie Ryan Newman? New record for most poles by a first-year driver. His league best 6th so far this season. He took on Friday. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. Now the Walmart starting grid for today's race. Alongside Newman on the front row, John Andretti, best qualifying effort of the season, the 99 pole winner here at Phoenix.
On the inside of row 2, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 29th is best at Phoenix, and Jeff Gordon, also a non-winner here.
Dave Blaney got his first Winston Cup career top 10 here a couple of years ago. He's in row 3 with Kenny Wallace, fastest in final practice yesterday.
On the inside of row 4, Mark Martin trying to close that gap on Tony Stewart. Joe Nemechek on the outside.
Robbie Gordon started 42nd in this race last year, finished 7th. He's a lot closer to the front today. He's alongside Jimmy Spencer in row 5.
On the inside of row 6 is Jeremy Mayfield. He was second here in 2000. Jamie McMurray on the outside.
Kurt Busch has moved up from 12th to 5th in the championship standings in the last 7 races. He'll start in row 7 today alongside Bill Elliott.
On the inside of row 8 is Elliott Sadler, but on the outside, all eyes on Tony Stewart as he tries to win that first NASCAR Winston Cup championship.
Christian Fittipaldi, his Winston Cup debut for Petty Enterprises today, alongside team boss Kyle Petty in row number 9. And Scott Whmer, winner of yesterday's NASCAR Busch Series race in row 10.
On the outside of row 10 is Jeff Burton, who's won the last 2 races here. Listen, Jeff Burton, Benny Parsons, you got me?
BP, how you doing today?
Well, I'm doing terrific. What about a 3-peat at Phoenix?
Ooh, that sounds good, doesn't it? We worked real hard on this car. This is a different tire, and we've had to throw some different stuff at it for sure, but we feel pretty good about it. Long runs seemed to be a strong suit yesterday, and we'll see if we can take advantage of that.
Has anything changed today weather-wise from Friday or Saturday?
It's hotter today for sure, and yesterday the track got real slick in the Busch race, so we hope to be able to use that knowledge to our advantage. We'll see.
Good luck to you, Jeff.
Jeff Burton trying to win a 3rd straight race here at Phoenix after taking this event in 2000 and 2001. He'll go from row number 10, the 20th starting position. Jimmy Johnson way back in provisional land. Things did not go well for the 3rd place man of the championship in qualifying. And now the final starters in the field, Mike Wallace, Derek Cope, and Tony Raines. Let me tell you that Todd Bodine, scheduled to start 30th, will have to go to the back of the field on these pace laps for an engine change. A lot of guys here trying to qualify, a number who failed to, and as the field is a half a lap for the green, here's Matt.
For the 3rd time in the last 4 Phoenix races, John Andretti starts in the front row, but he still has failed to score his first top 5 finish here on the mile. He hasn't won since April of '99. They think they've got a strong shot to end that today. Marty?
Matt, Brazilian native Christian Fittipaldi will make his Winston Cup debut today. The real expectations are realistic, though. Just finished all 312 laps and gained some experience, Dave.
Marty, up and down weekend for Kevin Harvick on Friday. He won the truck race in a truck he owns. Crashed Saturday in the Busch race. He's due for another up. Watch the 29. Alan?
500-kilometer distance today, 312 miles on this 1-mile track, so 312 laps, the total distance. Tony Raines on pit road. As the field comes down for the start, Ryan Newman leading the field to the green.
Green, green, green.
Real slick. Yesterday the Busch race, very slick the first few laps. This racetrack yesterday started out slippery, BP, and got worse.
Even worse, huh? Ryan Newman able to get turn 3 in front of the competition. Joe Nemechek hung on the outside.
Newman leads lap 1. Andretti 2nd. Earnhardt Jr. 3rd. Jeff Gordon 4th. Kenny Wallace 5th. Story from pit road on the Tony Raines car being there when the race went green. Dave, what's up there?
Well, NASCAR thought they saw something leaking on the car. It turns out it might have just been a water bottle or something leaking out of the car. He's okay.
He's okay, but he's going to get lapped here real quick. He came out. Did he go lap down already?
No, not yet.
No, he's just about.
2nd place, Dale Earnhardt Jr. inside of John Andretti. This Phoenix track a little different than most. The kink on the racetrack, instead of being where the start-finish line is over on the backstretch. Places like Daytona, Charlotte, you see the front straightaway with the curve in it. Not here.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different than those, Alan. This is like a dog leg. It's really a lot sharper than those other places you mentioned.
Now here's Jeff Gordon to the outside of John Andretti to try and take 3rd spot away. I talked to Robbie Loomis, Jeff's crew chief, this morning. They were pretty confident. Thought that they had found some things on their car in the final practice yesterday that really were going to make them contenders today. That'll make the Gordon fans happy. What about Tony Stewart? Where's our championship leader?
Well, there's Jeff Burton. We talked to on the radio on the 99 car on the inside of Tony Stewart as they go down in turn 1. That's a battle for the 16th position.
Tony started in 16th, so he hasn't gained, he hasn't lost yet from where he took the green. Elliott Sadler there we were on board with, sliding inside of Jamie McMurray.
And this is what's so great about this racetrack, especially down in 3 and 4. You can go in there side by side. Usually the guy on the outside can drive the car in a little bit deeper, but the guy on the inside has less distance to go. So it's really a lot of fun racing side by side through there.
And Burton and Stewart just kind of hung there side by side, nobody able to get the clear advantage. And Burton slides by.
And here comes Junior. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Bud car on the inside of Ryan Newman for the lead in turn 1. He has it.
Earnhardt Jr.'s team not very pleased with the way they ran at Rockingham 1 week ago. Had 5 straight top 10 finishes before they finished 34th last Sunday. Really was kind of an awful day for them. And that wasn't, 34th, we crashed, fixed the car, and came back out. That was 34th. That's where they ran all day.
That's all they could get.
Yeah.
They had one tough break, talking about the 8-car Dale Jr. They got out of sequence on tires because their tires just would not last long enough, as we see Jeff Gordon going by Ryan Newman on the outside. So they made an early pit stop. The caution flag came out, capturing them a couple of laps down, and that didn't help matters, but they really did not run well. And they're not very happy. They're going back to Rockingham next year and test to make that a little bit better.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., 2 previous NASCAR Winston Cup starts at Phoenix. His best finish, 27th. He's leading early today. Jeff Gordon around Newman for 2nd. John Andretti hanging in there in 4th, just behind them. And then you've got Dave Blaney and Mark Martin running in 6th. So we're just underway at Phoenix. Championship contenders, Martin running 6th, Tony Stewart 17th. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr. who's out in front early. Check the Wendy's race menu. Next weekend, the final weekend of on-track action in the NASCAR season. NBC Live in Homestead, Florida. The NASCAR Busch Series season closer on Saturday, and the NASCAR Winston Cup finale on Sunday. 1:30 and 12 noon Eastern, respectively, both days.
Jeff Gordon, that 24 car, closing in on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Meanwhile, Dave Blaney, 77 car, the Jasper engine car, trying to get by John Andretti for a 4th spot.
And Mark Martin right behind them. Mark needs a positive points day today. You can't let this thing go to Homestead next week, still down 100 points. Because then he's really up against the near impossible.
And a guy that he's racing against for the championship gets around Homestead pretty good.
Yeah, you think?
About as good as anyone.
Blaney having a great run so far this weekend. Qualified 5th fastest for this team. Dave's best career NASCAR Winston Cup finish, a trio of 6th place runs. The last of which happened down at Homestead in November 2001.
On board with Mark Martin, checking out some of his telemetry. We'll see what kind of, down in the 90-mile-per-hour range in turns 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, 158. We have to slow down to
99.
99.
That's not really slowing down, but
yeah. And brakes are an issue here. Getting these cars to slow down from 154 down to the 90-something mile-per-hour range, it takes a lot of brakes to do that.
Yes, it does, Benny. And yesterday in my car, we have an adjustment in these cars. You can balance the brakes. And these cars get tight during this race. As this race gets on, they won't turn. It's what we call push. So you'll dial in rear brake to try to get the car loosened up as you get in the corner. And I used up all my adjustment. You really use a lot of brakes here.
Mark's kind of in a hurry here. Leaning on Blaney a little bit off the corner. You know, one of the things that I appreciate the most about Mark Martin, besides his talent on the racetrack, is his frankness in his interviews. He really just lays his emotions right out there for you to see, including earlier this weekend when we talked to him about what he would have to do to try and win this championship. Basically, he said, I can't do any more than I already am.
I'm absolutely positive if I hang it out anymore, I'll wreck. And that's the way I drive all the time, so there's nothing else I can do. I've already done everything I could all year, and it isn't about one race or two races. It's about 36, and we've done, we've hung it out 34 times and plan on hanging it out 2 more.
And Al and I checked with their crew this morning as to Mark's attitude following last week's penalty. They use phrases like, happy as a lark. Mark is in a great mood. He's shaking off what happened last week, and he's very positive going into this weekend. Perhaps that's one reason why he's so in a hurry to get to the front.
And he's driving, Mark Martin is driving as aggressively, I think, as I've seen him all year long in the early laps.
Yeah, the motor had a little, like it tires broke traction there, trying to get under Andretti.
If he wouldn't have got off the gas, he would have hit Andretti. That's why he had to get off the gas there.
And you would know from your experiences yesterday here. Hey, don't laugh. We were proud of you yesterday. You went to 37th and came back up and finished in the top 10 in a 200-lap race.
It was fun. And you don't have time to be polite sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we didn't accuse you of being polite.
That's true.
Mark Martin has position on Andretti.
But it's hard. See how that outside car gets to get in deeper. Now, the inside car may get a little bit of advantage off the 4, but then the outside car is faster down the straightaway normally.
NASCAR Winston Cup Manufacturers Championship. Ford has clinched it. They did it at Atlanta a couple of weeks ago when Kurt Busch took the victory.
This is a great racetrack to race on.
I don't want to tear these tires up.
He don't want to tear these tires up. Is not what he said. He's trying to take it easy on his tires because they realize if this goes green until the first stop in about 50, 60 laps, these tires are going to be used up as long as they continue to race this way side by side.
Again, this is for 4th place. Mark Martin in the 6, trying to get by John Andretti in the 43.
Whoa! Man, he slid there. That was a big slide. Mark almost got into John there.
So will that damage that right front tire sliding like that?
A little bit, probably more the right rear.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. That race between Andretti and Martin about 6.5 seconds behind the Bud car. 26 of 312 laps complete here at Phoenix. Trouble in turn 4. Jamie McMurray has spun around. The caution flag is out.
And there's some damage to the left rear of the...
Severe damage.
Severe damage. And Tony gets his lap back. That was good save for Tony Raines.
Pit Road Boys telling us McMurray was reporting his car very, very tight before the crash. Did not want to turn in the corners like he needed it to. Boy, his luck has really run out, huh? McMurray trying to win 3 straight NASCAR Busch Series races and coming into yesterday's event here at Phoenix that you saw on NBC. Got caught up in an early crash. And you know, if you follow Winston Cup racing, about the Cinderella story he's been in this 40 car. The great performances that he had, the win at Charlotte in just his 2nd start, the 15th place finish at Rockingham, 7th at Atlanta, far surpassing expectations.
I'm a little disappointed in you for not getting me another set of tires yesterday.
I know we should have. We needed another set of tires. Everyone needed another set of tires.
Yeah, everybody did.
All right, anybody coming to pit here? Leaders coming to the opening of pit road.
I think they'll all make pit stops here.
Stops are going to come at lap number 28. Dave?
Mark Martin radioed in, oh, we have to pit, don't we? His car was so good. Slight change up on the air pressure in the right rear, 1/2 pound to keep up with the racetrack today. Bill?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on pit road. No major changes for this car. Just 4 tires and fuel, but also concerned about the guys that might just take 2. Tony Stewart says his car is tight in the center, wants some help there. Air pressure adjustment in the right front tire for Stewart, then Ford more than the 2 left sides and fuel. Marty.
Jeff Gordon is running 2nd. He said his car is loose. They think that's good. 4 tires down, 1 round on the track bar. Robbie Gordon wins the race off pit road. Actually, Ryan Newman. Let me check that.
Yeah, I want to check that 31 car, Marty. He might have just gotten 2 tires. He's right on the corner of pit road, and I think I saw the jack coming back from the right side of the car, but I want to follow that up for sure. He was running 10th coming in, so it's not unheard of that he couldn't have gotten out second.
Look at the rip in Kenny Wallace's door there.
That's not going to be very aerodynamic.
No. But it will be cooler inside the cockpit.
Yeah. I wonder where he got that.
I wonder if that had anything to do with
the 40 car crashing, yes.
Yeah. Kenny Wallace's car was very good in happy hour.
Well, let's find out. We have pictures. 77 leaving. Kurt Busch and Kenny Wallace.
Yep.
Now the right front fender on Kurt Busch's car has got to have some pretty serious damage to it.
Yep. I was part of one of those. I mean, the pits aren't really tight here.
But the maneuvering can be tough.
Everybody going at the same time.
All right, look ahead from Ricky Rudd's car.
He just came right down on top of
Schrader.
Hold your line. Low, low, low.
Schrader didn't have anywhere to go on that one. So he's probably got some right front damage.
McMurray's car, yeah, he's got some right front fender damage. Yes, McMurray's car was tight, I'm sure, but he got real loose when Schrader got down left rear.
All right, the 31 car, Robbie Gordon, did get just right side tires. Bill sending that information up from pit road. And Ryan Newman, the leader now, also just got 2 right side tires. It'll be an interesting experiment for later in the race, I guess.
Well, we saw Mike Wallace last year, in last year's race, get 2 tires at the end of the race and almost win, almost beat Jeff Burke.
I think we're seeing here 2 tires against 4 tires.
Yes. Junior in the 8 car has those 4. He dives on the inside of Robbie Gordon, takes second spot away.
We'll keep an eye on his speeds against that of the leader Ryan Newman and see if indeed the tires make a huge difference here. How about the 12 car, Marty?
Alan, I talked to Matt Borland, the crew chief for Ryan Newman. He said this was a planned experiment. They planned this morning. If they got an early caution, they wanted to see what 2 tires would do to see if it would work for later in the race.
Well,
good time to do it.
Junior is definitely closing on him visually. I mean, you don't even have to look at the watch. He's gaining a lot of ground on Ryan right now.
Jeff Gordon to 3rd, Mark Martin to 4th by Robbie Gordon. Here comes Dave Blaney in the yellow car, the 77. Now, 1 mile track. We saw that damage to the door on Kenny Wallace's car. He's right in the thick of this race for these up front spots. Is that going to be a hindrance for him?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so either. Not in the door. I'd rather have that damage in the door than that right front fender damage that maybe the 97 car Kurt Busch has, because that will affect your downforce, and the door I don't think will hurt Kenny too much.
Okay. The gang downstairs in the trucks made a nice glove save and a beauty to break away from that commercial when the crash happened.
And as soon as Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes by the 12 car, we'll probably go back to commercial and get that out of the way. Okay, guys.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. back out in front. 4 tires are better than 2 would be the statement made there so far early at Phoenix. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, let's check our NASCAR Busch Series update. Scott Whmer just basically overpowered Greg Biffle in the closing laps yesterday. Biffle led 185 of 200 laps, but Whmer took the win away. And our man Wally from 37th to 9th. We'll give you credit for that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Big story of the day, Greg Biffle locking up the NASCAR Busch Series Championship for 2002. Congratulations to he and the Jack Roush team. Now the Craftsman Truck Series update. Kevin Harvick won a thrilling race here on Friday by about a half a hood over Ted Musgrave. And their championship will go down to next Friday's race at Homestead Miami Speedway with just 32 points between 1st and 2nd. And Ted Musgrave still in the hunt. That's part of Ford Championship weekend at Homestead next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Gonna be a lot of fun. Palm trees and race cars. Can't beat the combination. Jamie McMurray involved in the caution earlier. His car's gone to the garage. Dave's with him.
And you just climbed out, Alan. Jamie, what happened on the track?
Well, I don't really know. The car was a little bit tight, just kind of trying to stay out of the way, and felt like I found a position I could ride in, and the 29 got by me, and whoever was behind him got into the back of me. I guess guess we were in the way. But, you know, I don't know, everybody talked about all the luck I was having, and apparently it ran out yesterday and today. We just, I don't know, you know, just wrong place at the wrong time.
And the crew fixing it, can you get back out?
Yeah, it looks like the track bar mount got into the truck arm, and I just really couldn't drive it, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong, so they're going to come back and try to get fixed, and we'll go right around.
All right, yeah, it'll be the second day in a row he's done that. He mentioned a wreck in the Busch race yesterday, and another one today, guys.
Boy, riding around is no fun because you are in the way.
Second place here.
Pretty even Steven so far, Benny.
Yes, it is.
And don't forget that 12 car's just got right side tires on his pit stop.
He's hanging pretty tough with those two rights, but I think Jeff Gordon eventually with the 4 fresh tires in the 24 will wear him out, wear him down and get by, but pretty interesting to watch.
While we watch this for a second, let me also tell you Rusty Wallace just got right side tires, moved up from 24th to 11th on his pit stop. And Matt Kenseth just got right side tires and moved up from 21st to 10th. One of the big stories in these final 2 races will be the fight from 3rd to 7th in the NASCAR Winston Cup standings. 48 points separate those positions starting the day, and you saw how tight things are.
This is one thing you got to be careful of here too, is when you got 2 cars running side by side, you run so much slower than the guys running single file. And you can see that Dave Blaney has made up a lot of ground on these 2 cars because they're running side by side, and it looks like Mark Martin is coming in pretty quick as well.
And Junior's checked out.
Yeah, in the meantime, Junior's running faster too and put more distance between them.
I mean, right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is running about a half-second a lap faster than these 2 cars running side by side. But they're both race car drivers and a little stubborn. No, I want second. No, I want second. You're not going to get it, and that's where we are.
He said race car drivers were a little stubborn. You're going to take that?
Well, he knows.
I can't believe that he said that.
He knows it's the truth.
Here comes Mark. Like you said a second ago, BP. Or was it Waller? One of you said.
One of us
into the
said.
picture. And still, for second place, they race on.
Now, if Blaney could give somebody a push.
Not like a push in the draft, but literally a push with the front bumper.
That too.
How about that? Blaney goes by Gordon to take over the 3rd spot.
And the guy with 2 tires hung on.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon has won at 19 of the 23 tracks on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit presently. This is not one of them. So what's left to race for if you can't win the championship? How about another spot in the record book? Blaney by Ryan Newman for second. Only problem is he's 5.2 seconds behind the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Once he finishes the pass.
Oh, look, contact there between 24 and 12. Ryan said, okay, you want that back, Jeff? Have at it.
It's just a lot easier passing that way.
But those 2 aren't done.
No, Newman said, whoa, wait a minute. Can't do me like that.
Tempers. And Jeff just wants to get away.
Yeah.
Hey, where's another 50 horsepower that I could get right now to get away from this 12 car?
And now Newman's got to worry about Mark Martin in the 6, who's taking a look on the outside. It's
tight over there.
Very tight over there.
Now watch out for that wall, please.
That wall does come at you quickly. Mark's going to go downstairs.
Mark looking for 4th place on Ryan Newman. Tony Stewart is up to 10th. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. has extended his lead even farther. 5.5 seconds on 2nd place, Dave Blaney. 52 laps complete here at Phoenix on NBC.
Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix. Brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. By UPS, official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. By Walmart. Always low prices. Always. And by Yamaha, makers of fine motorcycles and ATVs. Nobody's more in tune with motorsports than Yamaha.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader of the Checker Auto Parts 500 at Phoenix, but his lead on Dave Blaney is shrinking. Here's our Little Debbie trivia question. Who is the only driver to win Phoenix and the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship in the same season?
Alan Quickie.
Wrong.
Rusty Wallace.
Wrong. This was a great race, and as soon as I start telling the story, you'll remember. Dale Earnhardt, 1990. Mark Martin led coming into the race. Dale Earnhardt not only won the event, but he absolutely dominated. He led like the final 3/4 of the race, took the championship lead from Mark, then went on to Atlanta and locked up the title.
Alan knows all the answers.
I didn't remember that.
Well, to borrow a line from someone who's very close to us, we looked that up so you don't have to.
There you go. Kenny Wallace in the 23 car trying to run down Ryan Newman. This is a battle for the 5th position.
And Matt Kenseth really creeping up. Remember, he took just the 2 tires on the pit stop, BP, but he's moving through the top 10.
Now, this kind of racetrack that you would think that Matt Kenseth would excel on.
How about our championship leader, Tony Stewart? Where's he at?
There he is. And there is 10th.
Kurt Busch right behind him there. Remember, he had that little altercation on pit road that might have mashed up his right front fender a little bit. Elliott Sadler, let's mention, the report from pit road when he was, remember, he was involved in that contact too. Knocked the front end alignment out a little bit on the 21 car.
Well, I don't see a whole lot of damage on that 97 car. I thought there'd be a lot more by the looks of the hit on pit lane.
No, it looks pretty good. Tony Stewart goes by, takes another spot.
That'll be 9th place for Tony. All right, so that's where your championship leader is running, now up to 9th. And what about the 48 car? Jimmy Johnson, 3rd in the championship. Well, he's another one that took just 2 tires on his pit stop. And Dave, after starting way back in the field in 37th, he's moved up nicely.
And Alan, he was just a little bit loose on the throttle, and they discussed changes to make. They really couldn't come up with the best solution, so they decided not to hurt the car at all. They made no changes to the way the car was set up, and as you mentioned, just took on 2 right side tires.
And the scoring serial on Jimmy Johnson showing you he's currently in 13th place. Mark Martin running 4th. Behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front of Dave Blaney, but the lead is shrinking rapidly. Coming up on the 1/4 mark of the race, you're watching NASCAR on NBC.
A sunny day here in Phoenix as Home Depot brings you the NASCAR Winston Cup Series from the Phoenix International Raceway. Spectacular day, breezy temperature, about 75 degrees. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front of this field after 72 laps. Outstanding run for Jr. One word about the car. Perfect. He's up front. Let's take you through the field. He's number 1 on the track, following him the 77 car of Dave Blaney. I asked the crew if Blaney had said anything. They said no. He's too busy driving the car. Blaney with a good race here so far. Got 4 tires, no changes on his first stop. Marty Snyder.
Bill, this is one of only 4 tracks on the Winston Cup circuit Jeff Gordon has not won at. They tested here in an effort to win. Seems like it's paying off so far. Just a little bit loose for Gordon. He started 4th. Currently, he's 3rd. Dave?
Marty, moments ago, we picked up this radio transmission from Mark Martin.
Definitely loose, Ben. Definitely loose, definitely loose. I'm struggling. That's why I need times.
Mark Martin has been distracted all day, first with racing John Andretti, then with radio problems. They switched to that backup channel. Marty?
Back on lap 29 on pit road, Matt Kenseth's team took on 2 tires. It's worked pretty good. On lap 45, he said, it's coming in. I like the way it's going right now. Our pole sitter, Ryan Newman, right behind him on the racetrack. Lots of changes planned. They think the 2 tires they took on are not working so well. Ryan Newman, extremely tight in his race car right now. Matt?
Kenny Wallace is faded from 6th to 7th. The trend all weekend, it takes 25 laps for his car to get moving, but that should have been back at lap 56. The car just way too free. They're talking about a wedge adjustment. Bill.
Rusty Wallace from 29th to 8th on the racetrack. Make that 7th now. Wallace running 7th. Just 2 tires on his first stop, but it's worked out well for the 2 team. This team is focused, and there's no driver that is more determined to win in the next 2 weeks than Rusty Wallace.
We are very, very aggressive right now, and I'm very on the edge of just. I don't care how I get the job done, as long as I bring back the steering wheel and the thing's parked in the victory lane, it'll be fine with me. I don't care if it's a one big ball of flames or whatever. I just want to get the job done.
Rusty Wallace has not won this season, starved for a victory, has won here before when he was in the same situation, would like to repeat that feat, doing well on the 2 tires, actually changed his line to improve the car, and it worked. Behind him is the championship standings leader, Tony Stewart. Still a little tight in the center. They want to make a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment to make the car roll a little better. As for the 97 car of Kurt Busch, had that incident on pit road. Really not much damage. They're more concerned about the fender braces than anything else, but the car is tight. Kurt said it's too tight and it's way too early for this. Matt?
A further update on the 23 of Kenny Wallace. He's faded now all the way back to 10th. He says the car is way too free all the way through. Now they're talking a track bar adjustment and wedge adjustment on their next stop, Alan.
77 laps complete, working lap 78. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s advantage over Dave Blaney has dwindled to 2.4 seconds as the leader's in some pretty heavy lap traffic. He's put up to 32nd place. Joe Nemechek now 1 lap down. Let's continue going through the field. Marty, how about Elliott Sadler?
He's trying to track down Kenny Wallace, Al, and they had a test at Homestead earlier this week. The team called back to the shop, said, let's switch the car. We're going to take to Phoenix. Since then, they've been extremely fast all weekend. They have a little bit of a toe-out problem right now, Dave.
Jimmy Johnson's secret to success, the 24 car Jeff Gordon tested here, gave him the setup. He was fast yesterday, even though Gordon struggled. Marty?
Dave, it has been 18 races since John Andretti finished in the top 10. They had big hopes today. He started second. He has fallen back to 13th. The car is extremely tight for Andretti, just will not turn off the corner, Matt.
The one Roush car still seeking their season's first win. Jeff Burton runs in 14, trying for the three-peat here at Phoenix. They've got a lot of work to do. The car, after the wedge adjustment back on lap 28, still not any better. They can't get their front end in the racetrack. Meanwhile, the 88 of Dale Jarrett, another former Phoenix winner, he was fighting tight on entry, tight in the middle. They made an adjustment back on lap 28, air pressure. It is getting better, but slowly. Dave?
Kevin Harvick started 25th. He said his car was tight and needs forward bite. They made an air pressure adjustment to compensate for that on his last pit stop. Marty?
Dave, Jimmy Spencer is a man fighting for a job. He's also fighting to keep Ken Schrader behind him on the racetrack. The car extremely tight for Spencer right now, and he's fighting that condition. Started 10th, he has fallen back to 17th. Ken Schrader having a pretty nice run. He also is a little bit tight. It's been 373 races since Schrader won. Boy, that would be a party if he could do it. And he goes past Jimmy Spencer. Dave?
Michael Waltrip started 38th, Marty, and he's all the way up to 19th on the last stop. They made no changes. The car is pretty good, and he's been quiet on the radio ever since. Bill?
Ricky Rudd with Raymond Fox calling the shots from atop the pit box. Car just a little bit loose. 4 tires on his first stop. Rudd, with just 2 races left in this car, would like to get it back to victory lane. Dave, how about the 18 that just got by him?
And the 18 is running very well. Bobby Labonte has Fatback McSwain giving information this weekend, his crew chief next year, and it's doing well so far for him. Alan?
So there are the top 21 cars. Rest of the lead lap, there are a total of 30 of them. Scott Whmer, Johnny Benson, Mike Wallace, Robbie Gordon. Then Jeremy Mayfield, Ward Burton, Steve Park, Todd Bodine, and Jason Leffler. Then you get back to leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front after 83 laps, a quarter distance here in Phoenix. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. NBC tonight, singer Usher guest stars as Marvin Gaye. American Dreams, 8/7 Central tonight on NBC. Dale Earnhardt Jr. playing the role of race leader here at Phoenix as Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing. He's out in front of Dave Blaney by 1.7 seconds, working some pretty heavy lap traffic.
I just put Jeremy Mayfield in 19 car, running 28th, the lap down.
Yeah, some of these guys are going to have to make some really big adjustments during the pit stop, because if they're really tight right now, they need to almost make double the adjustments, because the track is just going to keep getting tighter.
I'm real loose, but it's leveled out on me.
Second place here. And Jeff Gordon has moved to the top of the racetrack. He's right up. If he were a sprint car, he'd be riding the rim. And out in Wally, it's working for him. Watch how high he goes up in the corner.
Like we talked about, definitely two lines here. And if you can get your car to work high in 1 and 2, it actually is better. But yesterday I looked everywhere. I was on the bottom, in the middle, high. You just got to keep searching the racetrack to see what your car likes. And Jeff Gordon now obviously found a groove that he likes, and his car's fast on, and that's the high groove.
Problem is, when the lap traffic is in the groove that your car likes the most,
that becomes a problem.
Todd Bodine also running that high lane in the Discover Card entry. Todd just been put a lap down by the leaders in 31st place.
Marty, what about the 24? What are they saying in the pit area?
Well, BP, one advantage of qualifying well is you get a great pit stall, and their pit stall for Jeff Gordon is down here in the middle of 1 and 2. So Robbie Loomis said, hey, why don't you try running that high line? Everybody else is. He went up there, and they picked up time. And that was Robbie Loomis' suggestion to do that. Working well for Jeff Gordon.
Well, we didn't qualify very well yesterday, and what we did is I tried 3 different lines in 3 laps, and they looked at the watch, and then they told me, hey, whatever you did that lap, that's where you want to run. But Robbie being down in 1 and 2, he can see it for his own eyes.
Probably going to have some pit stops here pretty soon. Everybody was in at lap 28. Maybe another 25 laps or so before they come in. So let's take a break here, get back and set that up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. NASCAR on NBC moves to South Florida next weekend. It's Ford Championship weekend. Season finales for the NASCAR Busch Series and NASCAR Winston Cup Series from the Homestead Miami Speedway, 1:30 and 12 noon Eastern, Saturday and Sunday respectively, here on NBC. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led 88 of the 101 laps that have been run so far. Ryan Newman led 12 of the opening laps, but it's been all juniors so far.
And he's about to put Mike Wallace in the Conseco car. A lap down. He's trying to. Got position in turn 3. But is that the fastest way? Looks that way. We talked about earlier about brakes being an issue here at the Phoenix International Raceway. On board the Texaco Havoline 28 car that Ricky Rudd drives, we've installed a camera that can show us just how warm these brakes can get. And that red that you see is the rotor turning red when he goes down the corner and applies those brakes.
And he's on the straightaway right now, but just a second, you'll see that thing get bright red right there.
All that inside is the rotor turning cherry red. And you know, Mark Martin last week had a left front. This is a coil spring that they talked about that they found that was an 1/8 of an inch short in a coil, and he cost him 25 points. 25 driver points, 25 owner points.
You know, the reason that those spring rules came into play by NASCAR this year is very complicated, but the more that you legislate on a race car, the more different areas teams explore trying to find an advantage. And one area teams thought they could find an advantage is with softer springs and doing some different things with the springs to make them compress in different ways.
Right. The lower you can get the car to run to the racetrack, the better the car is going to handle it. It almost creates like a vacuum in between the bottom of the car and the racetrack. So if you have a spring that's a little bit shorter, you get the car compressed, it's going to go through the corners faster. But that spring, I don't think, had enough off it to make it a difference.
No, I don't think it made any difference as far as the performance on Mark Martin's car. But again, once again, the rule says 4.5, and it wasn't 4.5. It was 4 3/8.
So you see Ricky Rudd, second to last on the lead lap now, back in 21st place. They're racing Michael Waltrip, and we are coming up on green flag pit stops. for some of the front runners. In fact, Todd Bodine has come on to pit road already, and Ward Burton has been on the pit road.
And there's the winner, the 27 car, Scott Whmer, the winner of the NASCAR Busch Series race yesterday. And in watching Happy Hour yesterday, I just was convinced that he was going to be a challenge for the win today. But right now, this is not looking good. He's about to go a lap down to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And Junior's car is getting into the corner really, really well. He's he's really making up a lot of ground getting in, and his car's rolling through the center right here. That's really good here at Phoenix. What's up, Dave?
Well, I just wanted to update you on the 27. He has been tight all day long. They made an air pressure adjustment last time to try to correct it, but that's a problem for Scott as his car is just really tight and not nearly as good as his Busch car was yesterday.
And he's coming to you now, Dave.
And see, I don't think an air pressure adjustment right now, this track's going to get a lot tighter. These guys are going to have to make big changes right now. And I don't know if a pound of pressure here and there is going to get it done.
Dave?
We'll see what they do this time. There goes the adjustment wrench. They're going to make a wedge adjustment in that car. That's going to be a lot more significant, and look at how many times he turns it around. That will change this chassis and hopefully make things a lot better for Scott. They'll put on 4 tires and pump it full of fuel.
Rusty Wallace is in for his pit stop. Remember, Rusty took just right side tires when he came in back at lap 28 under the caution flag.
Now see, Rusty probably won't, I think Rusty, if he's happy with his car, he'll make a small change, maybe a tire pressure adjustment. But the guys that are really having trouble are really going to have to go out there and make some changes. I don't see any wrenches going in the back, Benny.
No wrenches, just air pressure adjustment. Good stop, all in all, for Rusty Wallace. a little over 15 seconds.
See Whmer leaving. Joe Nemechek, who's just ahead of them, heading out of the pit road. Here's John Andretti in. Marty.
John Andretti's been extremely tight. He obviously started second today. He has fallen back to 12th, Alan. This team really needs a good run. They're planning on a wedge adjustment. Also, they're going to take a pound out of the right front tire. Wally talked about how many of these teams need to make big adjustments. Many teams are talking about that, how the racetrack's going to change throughout the day. You need to keep up with it. It'll be the pound out of the right front tire. 4 tires for John Andretti, and they decide not to make that wedge adjustment. And I agree with Wally. That might have been a bad move.
Good pit stop. Under 15 seconds. Jeff Gordon is on pit road. Second place car.
Brian Newman is also in for his pit stop. Marty, go ahead.
Brian Newman is tight. They do decide to make a lot of adjustments on that race car. Remember, he only took 2 tires last time. Pound into the right rear, pound out of the left rear. They also make a wedge adjustment for Newman, a little longer on the left rear. Behind him on pit road is Jeff Gordon, the man who was running second for most of that run. Starts loose, gets better the longer he runs. He said, I like what we've got, guys. They decided to put a pound in the right front for Jeff Gordon. They like that car a little bit loose. Dave?
Marty, the 15 of Michael Waltrip is on pit road. They've already made a wedge adjustment to the left rear of that car. 4 tires and fuel for Michael. His car was just a little bit loose.
See Dale Jarrett coming on to pit road as Michael leaves. Johnny Benson is also coming in.
And you saw the right rear of Jeff Gordon's car outside the pit box. Well, obviously, NASCAR did not hold him. He had to drive around the 41 car of Jimmy Spencer to get there. And when you do that, when that happens, they do not penalize you for having the tire outside the box.
You said the right rear, but you're allowed to have the right rear out.
By driving around the
right. The other 3 tires have to be in the box, regardless. Kenny Wallace is in. Bobby Labonte's in. Wholesale pit stops here. Matt, how about Kenny Wallace?
Kenny Wallace had dropped from 6th down to 14th. The car was free and neutral, and then it just went bad loose. They're going to adjust with air pressure, and you can see the wrench in the back window, Dave.
Matt, Bobby Labonte was just a little bit loose. The crew made air pressure adjustments in every tire except the right front. Took a little air out, filled it full of fuel, and sent it back out.
Still waiting on the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has not made an appearance on pit road yet, nor have Dave Blaney or Mark Martin or Matt Kenseth. Dave.
The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson said, I'm moving to the bottom. I just can't get the top to work for me. They're going to make an adjustment this time and send him back out. 4 tires, a little bit close to the wall for Johnson.
Yeah, I think the car fell off the jack, too, and they tried to put the left side up on that stop. Saw the car up, dropped back down, then went back up again.
And I saw some guy trying to pull out a quarter panel on the car like it might have had some damage.
Jeremy Mayfield in.
You see the wrench going in there. Oh, 2 wrenches. There's a lot of adjustment there. Matt.
A lot of work going on in Jeremy Mayfield's car. You can see both wrenches in the back window. Chris Statham making the adjustment on the left side, the gas man. Mayfield scored a second here. Long stop. Mayfield's best finish here, second. They're hoping for more today.
Championship leaders on pit road.
You see how the gas?
Who's that? Was that the 20? 8.
The 8 car is out. No.
Wow, where's lap 117? He's on the backstretch. Just coming off turn 2.
He's a long way from the pit opening.
Wow.
Man, oh man, this cannot be happening. Cannot be happening.
Let's handle this. Come on around.
That's the attitude. Let's handle it. Let's go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs out of gas leading. It's going to cost him so much time.
That's a telltale sign. 0 RPM.
Now watch the mile per hour. You don't know how fast you're coming down pit lane, BP, when you don't have an RPM gauge to gauge as well.
Marty?
And he said he's out of gas. That's all he said is I'm out of gas. And obviously they're very upset here. And he's going to slowly come down pit road. Here he comes, and indeed, the car is not running for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now the problem is they have to get it fired up. A lot of times these cars have a hard time starting once it's out of fuel. They will go and they'll spray ether. Actually, they spray some gas straight into the carburetor. That's how they do it. Spray it straight into the carburetor. It does refire for Junior. He was the leader. This is a terrible break. Dave?
Mark Martin was going to pit a lap ago, but they saw Junior slowing, thought he might stop on the racetrack, causing a caution. He did not. Jack Roush pointed his finger, stay out one more lap. They did. Only a slight air pressure adjustment for Mark Martin, who said he needed forward bite and side bite in the car. Marty?
Dave Blaney on pit road having a terrific run up front. It'll be 4 tires for Blaney. They're working on the left side, the left rear now. Full of fuel, a long time on the left front for Blaney.
Matt Kenseth is the leader. He's not yet stopped. Here comes Kurt Busch, had moved up to second. Now he comes in. Marty?
Kurt Busch is on pit road, coming down pit road right now to his team, having a nice run in the top 5. A 3-time winner this year. They'll go around to the right side for Kurt Busch, now around to the left side. A lot of these teams are fighting tight conditions on the racetrack right now. Just can't get their car to turn in the corner, and Kurt Busch will make a track bar adjustment on the backside, putting some track bar in 4 tires for the 97 car.
And now Matt Kenseth gives up the race lead, and he comes onto pit road. This will just about complete the cycle of stops.
And you see that DeWalt $1 Million Challenge on the hood? The challenge was held here today, and the guy won $1 million, Marty.
That's exactly right, VP. He said, I like what we have. It feels pretty good. They're just going to put 4 tires on and make no adjustments. They talked about putting a right front air pressure adjustment in. They decided against that. They think they have an excellent car. The last time you saw this car on the racetrack, it was in Victory Lane at Richmond.
What's going on there? What's going on down there, Marty? He's hung up. He run out of gas.
Not running?
Run out of gas.
Oh, wow. 30-second pit stop.
Yep. That's 15 seconds on the racetrack is about a half a lap.
So after things have cycled out, the new leader of this race is going to be Jeff Gordon by 5.5 seconds on Mark Martin. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be 13 seconds behind Gordon in 7th spot because they ran out of gas.
I thought it was going to be worse than that.
Yeah, I did too. I thought he might get a lap.
Just past the 1/3 point of this race, Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix. We'll be back.
Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix. Brought to you by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. And by Sprint, introducing PCS Vision. It's clearly a whole new way to look at wireless.
Closing in on the halfway mark today here at Phoenix with Jeff Gordon out in front of Mark Martin by 5.2 seconds after a round of pit stops that shuffled up the running order.
And the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, the Lowe's car directly in front of him, about to go a lap down, and as is Ricky Rudd, Kenny Schrader,
Remember that we saw the problem Jimmy Johnson had on the stop. He was 9th before the pit stops. Dave, now he's 20th. Here's our Coors pit summary. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, that car's not working well, Alan, but there was no damage from the pit stop when it fell off the jack, but that was a lengthy pit stop for him. And remember, pitting later than Jeff Gordon did, Jeff picked up that time on the track.
Saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 7th place. Now he's moved up to 6th because Bill Elliott had not yet pitted. But Jr. is 11.8. Oh, trouble down the front stretch. Scott Whmer cautions out.
Pretty serious damage to the right front on that car.
Caught the inside wall, a good one.
Oh, all these cars trying to get a lap back, they all will succeed.
Whoa down, gentlemen. So the weekend that was so good for Scott Whmer yesterday when he wound up winning the NASCAR Busch Series race will end up shy of its scheduled goal today.
Tony Stewart has moved up to the 5th position, and this puts him right back in the ball game as far as trying to win this race.
Mark Martin running 2nd.
That smoke coming off the 31 car? Was he around Whmer on that deal?
Well, why don't we see if we can find out?
We'll look it up so you don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
31 car of Robbie Gordon was trying to go by Whmer on the outside, made contact.
Oh, look at Tony sneak through there.
Oh, man.
A lot of those guys snuck through.
Even though they all came in under green a little while ago, most of the leaders all coming back in now, Dave.
And on the last pit stop, Mark Martin specifically asked for scuffed tires. It helps the car, but they don't have enough to go all day long, so this time they have to put on stickers. They will put on the scuffs later when they need them most. Matt?
And Tony Stewart in for service. Obviously, 4 tires going to be going on. They've got him up on the wall. Stewart is trying to adjust that race car. Another air pressure adjustment on the stop as Jeff Gooch Patterson puts the second can up. To Snyder.
A lot of debate on Jeff Gordon's stop as to whether to take 2 or 4. They decided 4, and a wedge adjustment for Jeff Gordon. Just a little bit loose, and a lot of guys went with that 2-tire decision.
And Ryan Newman is having a terrible pit stop, still working on the left side. Finally, the pit stop is complete.
Just checking to see if any of the lead lap cars stayed out and did not pit. I don't see any. Well, we'll check on Rusty Wallace, see what happened there. Did Rusty come in? Rusty came in too. Okay. Another look at what happened between Scott Whmer and Robbie Gordon. Clear, not clear. In this case, not clear.
Well, there looked to be a hole there that Robbie Gordon thought he could get the nose of his car in, and Scott Whmer came up, contact was made.
And he just wasn't clear. And Tony Stewart, the championship leader, just sneaks through.
Oh my goodness, it's the big cruiser. It's in Homestead already. Gracious alive. I can't believe how many people over the weekend have asked me why the pit cruiser is not here. You know how many people ask me about the pit cruiser? How many? 0. Well, I've had people ask me many. You know, we can do one of 2 things, BP. If you know a tow truck operator in South Florida, we can arrange for that thing to disappear between now and the race next weekend. Not this. What if this guy will run down to Miami and get rid of the crew? Or if Wally thinks it's such a great idea, he could have been the one to drive it from Rockingham to Phoenix. So I didn't say I want the driving job. I just thought it was a good idea. And a lot of people have signed it. They must like it if they put their signatures on it. Okay. Get set to go back racing. Kurt Busch is now the leader. Did not pit under the caution. One more look at that last accident from Robbie Gordon's on board.
Keep digging.
Sorry, I'm on Robbie's side on that one.
No, yeah, he wasn't clear.
Part of it down.
Yeehaw.
Whoa, back up clear, man. Good job.
I tell you what, both Tony Stewart and Dale Jr. both could have been involved in that crash.
Tonight on Boomtown, find out what happens when a hostage decides to play hero. Boomtown tonight at 10, 9 Central on NBC.
We talked about that yesterday. I wouldn't suggest that.
That gun didn't look big enough to be a hero.
Kurt Busch didn't pit. He's the leader. Rusty Wallace took right sides only. He's second. Elliott Sadler took fuel only. He's third. Then you get back to Jeff Gordon fourth. Mark Martin fifth. Tony Stewart sixth.
Green flag, green flag.
Boy, there's a lot of cars a lap down. Side-by-side restarts, Benny. These guys back in 15th. They've got a long way to go.
And Tony Stewart started 6th, but obviously he starts about 12th with all these cars a lap down up there on the inside scrambling.
Steve Park in the 1, Michael Waltrip in the 15. First cars 1 lap down in 22nd and 23rd places. Jimmy Spencer in the 41 also a lap down, 24th place.
And these are the most nerve-wracking laps that these drivers will run, the first few laps of a restart.
How about top 2 in the championship right there together? Martin and Stewart in 5th and 6th, and that's not the scenario Martin needs to see, and that's all the scenario that Stewart wants to see. Jeff Gordon peeking under Elliott Sadler, 3rd place here.
Saw some smoke off the right front fender on Elliott Sadler's car, the 21 car, as he entered turn 1.
Elliott Sadler, one of a number of drivers winding down the season with a team that they'll not drive for next season. Remember that Ricky Rudd goes to his 21 car and Sadler goes to the number 38 machine for Robert Yates Racing next season.
MVP, I saw some smoke out there too. Looks like the tire is hitting maybe the fender or the top of the fender. They're getting that car all the way down to the racetrack.
Caution is out. Debris on the front straightaway. Jeff Gordon seeing Michael Waltrip anxious to try and get a lap back, moving aside.
I don't think Michael's going to have the time.
Busch will not allow anyone such luxury. Coming up on halfway, and we're back under caution here at Phoenix. Kurt Busch is the race leader. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
They say fans will climb a mountain to see the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, and that's exactly what they've done here in Phoenix. Wally going to the hip to buy those seats for those fans. Not exactly up front, but they can see the greens out. Alan?
Nice of you to rejoin us there, Bill. I know, next time you need a break, you don't have to have somebody break your microphone or something. Come on. All right, Kurt Busch is the leader. Rusty Wallace is second. Elliott Sadler is third, worked on by Jeff Gordon. The 1 car and the 15 car are a lap down, not in the mix for the race for the lead.
Rusty Wallace at 2 car. When we played that interview we did with Rusty earlier in the week, I think you folks heard the hunger for a victory in Rusty Wallace's voice. He wants to win today or next week so badly he can hardly stand it.
Jeff Gordon looks like he's going to finally get inside of Sadler and finish that pass. Remember, Gordon took tires on that last set of pit stops, but Sadler did not.
Rusty is getting through the center of the corner, especially in 3 and 4, a lot better than the 97 car, Kurt Busch. Taking a look down low, but really in 3 and 4 is where he's really strong. He was the last couple laps.
Watch as the 2 car closes up on the back bumper, like Wally talked about. Right there is where he's making that gain.
Rusty Wallace has led 10 of his 14 career Winston Cup races here at Phoenix. Last year's race, he led 91 laps. Looked like a potential winner. Was not to be at the Checkers. He wound up 15th. 60 races since Rusty Wallace has been to victory lane. Nearly 2 seasons worth. And Rusty, one of the drivers involved in that tight fight for 3rd place in the championship standings. Bill. He's desperate to break the winless streak, but he also still feels he's got a shot at third and maybe more in the championship.
Hopeful for more than that, but certainly looking at the top three, Alan. And the thing about Rusty, you mentioned that he's desperate, and we talked about it for weeks, but the big concern with this team now is that Rusty doesn't overdrive the car, get too aggressive, be too determined, and hurt his own chances. Earlier in the season, they had a talk with Rusty, saying you can't win it on the first lap. At Pocono, Bobby Adelson walked up to Rusty, put his finger in his face, and said, "What did I tell you years ago? That it only matters where you're at on the last lap." Rusty fell out early at Pocono, finished 40th. Those thoughts go through his mind and through his team's mind. Bobby Allison has tremendous respect for Rusty Wallace. Rusty, a lot of love for Bobby Allison. When he talks, Rusty listens.
And Rusty Wallace right now, Bill, going for the lead. He's getting loose. Oh, baby!
And Bill, you talked about overdriving this racetrack. You can do that real easy here at Phoenix because you have to get in the corner so deep. And when you're racing somebody, it's real easy to overdrive the car into the corners.
Be patient.
Bill Wilburn, crew chief, talking to Rusty Wallace.
And Rusty dove down on the inside of the 97 car. Didn't have all the racetrack. Didn't have enough downforce on the back of the car and almost lost control.
So that gives Kurt Busch a little clear sailing for the time being in the lead. He's about 3/4 of a second ahead now of Rusty, with Jeff Gordon now trying to close behind Rusty for second place. Remember on Countdown to Green? Showed you their little confrontation in Rockingham last weekend.
Jeff's back to that high line. That groove he really likes working for him right now. Rusty's trying to stay on the bottom. In fact, I'm surprised there's not more guys, Benny, running on the apron down in 1 and 2 because of, you know, yesterday everybody was really tight. You hit the apron and it actually rotates the car and helps you turn off. But I'm not seeing too many guys down there just yet. Right in there. Boy, Rusty's just about there.
Scott Whmer was involved in the crash that brought out that last caution, or actually 2 cautions ago now. We had the debris yellow also. Matt Yoakum's with him.
And a big disappointment for Scott Whmer. The team just trying to fix the car to get it on the truck. What happened from your vantage point, Scott?
I don't know. I came off before. I thought I gave Robbie Gordon enough room. I don't know if he got loose and just come down to my right rear turn man wall. But not a real good day for the Siemens Dodge. We were hoping to run a little better after winning yesterday, but we'll just fix the car and bring it back next year.
They had a lot of confidence and high hopes for today after yesterday's win.
Michael Waltrip trying to get a lap back from leader Kurt Busch. Michael in 22nd place.
All right, Mikey.
Not giving up on it.
Now he is working that high line to perfection while all around this racetrack. Talking about Michael Waltrip.
So lead lap for the Napa car, hoping for a caution. Kurt Busch leading in the wild, wild west.
Break out before you get when I bounce into the Cisco.
Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix on NBC. Just past the halfway point of today's event, and Kurt Busch is out in front, seeking a 4th victory in the 2002 campaign. Check the Napa field summary just past the midway point of the race. Leaders today, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Brian Newman, Matt Kenseth, and Dave Blaney, with Jr. leading by far the most laps so far. Only cars out of the race, Scott Whmer from a crash, and Tony Raines went to the garage area a little while ago. Championship standings, Mark Martin runs 4th, Tony Stewart runs 6th. They entered the race 112 points apart, so Mark in position to gain 10 on Tony. Sum up what that means. Tony is not in position to clinch the title here today, but Mark's not gaining a whole lot on him either to go to the final race in Homestead, Florida next Sunday.
For Mark Martin to feel like he has a chance at Homestead, I think he needs to be within 40 or 50 points when we leave here, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Meanwhile, that's a pretty doggone good battle for third spot right there between Jeff Gordon, 24, Mark Martin in 6.
Mark took fourth place from Elliott Sadler a little while ago, BP, and pretty quickly caught up to Jeff.
Jeff Gordon is running a very different line than Mark Martin. He's running around the top of the racetrack, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which allows Mark to pull up on the inside, but it gives Jeff Gordon that great run down the straightaway.
Yeah, and it's hard to make up ground getting in because, like I said, the car on the high side usually can run deeper. Mark's a little quicker through the center, but now Jeff will come off of turn 4 and see he's got the momentum.
And this is where a driver has to balance his desire to get by with those tires that he's trying to save.
See right there, Mark got sideways, and that's what you can't do here. You can, you run side by side, but if you get those tires hot, which you're going to get them hotter, racing another car, then your car's going to start to slide. So you got to get back in line, cool things down a little bit, then take another run at them.
Mark Martin, the 93 winner of this race. Let's do our singular call to the pits. Check in with Bill Whmer. Bill?
Well, Alan, just wanted to update you on the 8 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. down here trying to decide if he's unlucky that he ran out of fuel, which he definitely was, or if he's more lucky that he was able to stay on the lead lap, currently running 9th. So it's depending on which way you want to look at it. Earnhardt's had bad luck and good luck just to remain in contention. But right now, this car is just way too loose. In fact, a moment ago, he told the crew that the car is rolling over on the right rear. It's a handful right now on this very slick track. So Earnhardt Jr. with his hands full in that 8 Budweiser Chevy. Marty?
Bill, kind of the same story for Matt Kenseth, who also ran out of fuel under the last caution, actually 2 cautions ago, under the last pit stops. He came on the radio when he ran out of fuel and he said, boys, we just lost the race right there. Robbie Reiser, his crew chief, very quick on the radio, tell the team, keep your heads up, we've got an excellent car, and look where Matt is now. He's all the way up to the 8th position, and they have a fast race car.
Last lap by was just as fast as the leader, Kurt Busch.
And he was on that apron I was talking about a little earlier. He dropped down, helping his car turn in the corners.
Working it and working it and working it.
And that's all you can do right here is just keep working them, hoping to maybe Jeff make a mistake, go in a little bit deep, slide a little high, almost like he did there.
It just looked like Mark's car when he coming up off that corner. He almost had to like turn it twice.
Well, you have to, because really you need to use the whole racetrack in order to keep your momentum as you're down on the bottom of the racetrack. Well, Jeff was there, so you're absolutely right, Alan. He's got to turn the car twice to keep it off of Jeff, and when he does that, it's actually slowing the car down coming off the corner.
Yeah, they can run through the corner side by side, but when they exit, they need to be in exactly the same spot, about right there. And if Jeff Gordon is out there, Mark Martin not allowed to let his car drift up, it becomes a problem. We talked about yesterday, all these guys putting tape on their windshields for a sun visor, and you can see how this problem is going to get worse and worse as they drive down in turn 1 and drive into a setting sun. Visibility becomes almost nil.
The windshield tear-offs that they use to give the driver a clean view throughout the race have become so important in recent years, especially at places like this. Watch how much of the track disappears right here.
And see right here, right up here in this area right here is where the tape is. And that, like yesterday, we put a bunch of tape. We put tape all the way down about that far to help the glare of going into turn 1, as Benny was talking about.
Mark Martin has a phenomenal record here at Phoenix. 7 top 5 finishes in 14 Winston Cup races. He's certainly in the hunt for another one, running 4th just past halfway today.
But unfortunately, he can look up in the rearview mirror and see Tony Stewart, the guy that he's trying to gain points on. Every time he looks up, he's right there. And he said, well, I'm not doing a very good job gaining points today.
Wally, you got a ranch, right?
Yes.
You have any bulls on your ranch?
Any bulls? No.
No?
No bulls, just deer.
Thought you might be able to help me with this little announcement about next Sunday's professional bull riding show.
Can't help you there.
NBC, 4 Eastern Time, the Mohegan Sun Invitational, the world's most daring cowboys trying to handle 2,000 pounds of bulls. That would be plural. next Sunday, 4 Eastern on NBC.
But I really like steak. Does that mean anything?
No, I don't think so.
It's still hard to believe that they're in Connecticut riding bulls.
Well, some people find it hard to believe that there's Winston Cup racing in Phoenix. Been here since 1988.
A lot of folks show up each year.
Yep. Better than 100,000 here today. There are 78,812 seats at Phoenix International Raceway. They're all full. Plus the hillside up off turn 4. As you see this massive crowd basking in the sun. Kurt Busch is basking in the lead right now, 2.5 up on Rusty Wallace. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
The race roars ahead under green here as Home Depot brings you NASCAR Winston Cup Series racing from Phoenix. An outstanding day in the desert, temperature in the mid-70s. The fans are here, 183 laps on the board, and we'll take you through the field. Starting with Kurt Busch, whose car is good. Just a little bit loose right now. They've worked on it all day, but Busch, the race leader, looking for his 4th victory of the season. Rusty Wallace is trying to find the fastest line around this racetrack. So what he's doing, he adjusts his line and has crew chief Bill Wilburn call out the times. Rusty's trying to figure out the line and the times that will get him around the track the quickest. Marty?
Bill, in the last stop for Jeff Gordon, at the last minute, Robbie Loomis said, hey, put a 1.5 wedge in the left side. That was the wrong decision. Now the car has gotten too tight for Gordon. Loose in the middle, tied off. They're fighting that problem, Matt.
Mark Martin, the second highest placed Roush car, looking for his 2nd Phoenix win. On his last stop, they didn't make any adjustments. 4 laps ago, Mark Martin reported to his team, the car has gone to the tight side, Marty.
Matt, what a terrific day for Elliott Sadler and his team. They started 15th. They are up to the 5th position. Remember, they had that front end problem a little bit earlier with a front end alignment, made the car tight. Those guys have worked so hard on that car, it's now free, just the way he wants it, Bill.
Tony Stewart, the leader in the championship standings, started off with a tight race car yesterday in happy hour. They worked on it, tried to fix it, couldn't get it done. They worked on it overnight mentally, then made small adjustments to the car this morning, and now Stewart running 6th, trying to earn his 1st Winston Cup championship. Right behind him, the 77 car of Dave Blaney. Been relatively quiet on the radio, but he's normally quiet. Not much to say about the car. Been pretty consistent all day. Just minor air pressure adjustments to try and keep Dave Blaney up front. Marty?
Bill, Matt Kenseth started the day 28th, came through the field to the top 10, ran out of fuel, came through the field to the top 10 again. Now he's in the 8th position. Guess what? Last year here in Phoenix, Matt Kenseth started 38th and finished 4th. The 17's coming, Bill.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. remains in the 9th position. That's a loose race car. Was furious when he ran out of fuel and asked the crew earlier in the day to make sure that didn't happen. They told him we should have had 4 more laps to go. There's no way we could have possibly been 8 laps short. Matt?
Bill Dale Jarrett runs in 10th. He said the car had gone to the tight side. Todd Perrin, the crew chief, asked spotter Bob Jeffrey to look for damage on the right front. Bob called back and said it looks like it just rolled off DJ's showroom floor. He runs right now in the 10th position, Alan.
Kurt Busch leading Rusty Wallace by 1.1 seconds. 21 cars on the lead lap at this point in a race that has featured a very long green flag run here. We went back at it at lap 143, and we're now at lap number 190. Let's continue going through the field. Bill, how about Jeff Burton?
Alan, he's got 110 laps left to get to the front if he wants to three-peat here at Phoenix. Positive driver, good race car, but right now Jeff Burton just in the middle of the pack, running 11th, trying to get up front. Dave?
Bill, Kevin Harvick's car was tight, but the crew adjusted on it, and on the last stop, they put on 4 tires with no changes, and he said the car's really good. Now that's Happy Harvick. As for Bobby Labonte, his car was a lot better too. It was tight in the center of the corners, but now it was turning just a little bit too good, but not bad enough in order for them to make any changes. 4 tires, no changes for Labonte. For the 48, a different story. Lap 133, they pitted. 4, air pressure adjustment. It was tight in the center, loose off. And then Chad Knaus, the crew chief, radioed to Jimmy, if you want to make any changes, we better make them now, when the caution came out on lap 143. They made a wedge adjustment, took on no additional tires. Alan?
Taking you back through the top 14, the rest of the 21 on the lead lap include Johnny Benson, Kenny Wallace, Ward Burton, The pole sitter Ryan Newman trapped way back in 18th. Ricky Rudd, John Andretti, and Michael Waltrip.
And Michael Waltrip is on the lead lap. We saw him pass the leader, Kurt Busch, on this beginning of this run, and there he is, still in front of Kurt Busch. So the Napa Chevrolet, obviously pretty doggone good, isn't he, Dave?
And BP, he wasn't that happy with his car, but they made an air pressure adjustment on that lap 133 stop, and he radioed in that the car was much, much better.
It has to be much better because, I mean, he's staying in front of the leader. It's not just that he passed him and then lost the position again. He went past Kurt Busch, and he's maintaining that distance.
See that 36 car of Ken Schrader. Kenny was, I repeat, was having a very good race, but now he's back in 34th place. And he is a couple of laps, almost 2 laps down to the race leader, just, you know, a car length ahead of 2 laps. Marty, what happened?
Alan, what happened? Just so disappointing for these M&M guys. They left the left rear tire loose. Schrader radioed in twice. Are you sure we didn't leave a tire loose? Because I got a bad vibration. And indeed, it was the left rear that was loose. They lost 2 laps here on pit road. They did have a great run going indeed. Now they've lost all that time.
1 and almost a second lap behind Kurt Busch. We are about 25 laps away from the leaders coming in under green, barring a caution. So let's take a break. We'll come back and get ready to cover pit stops. Kurt Busch out in front of the Checker Auto Parts 500 at Phoenix.
Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix. Brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By McDonald's. By MGM's Die Another Day, starring Pierce Brosnan, rated PG-13. And by Pep Boys. Help for your car is just a Pep Boys away. Pep Boys, we're car people.
Two-thirds of the way through today's race at Phoenix, and Kurt Busch is out in front of Rusty Wallace by 1.7 seconds. Fighting Irish back on NBC November 23rd, taking on Rutgers. Notre Dame with a 9-1 record after defeating the Naval Academy yesterday. It's the final home game as Notre Dame marches towards a New Year's Day bowl. Notre Dame football 2 weeks on NBC.
By a touchdown, they beat Navy.
Boy, Navy put up a big fight, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Kurt Busch leading this race. Over Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and now Tony Stewart, who's moved into 5th, passing Elliott Sadler.
And Michael Waltrip couldn't stay in front of Busch. He's now back a lap down.
Now these guys have been going at it.
This is for 2nd place. Rusty and Jeff and Mark.
Mark Martin only 2 seconds behind the leader, Kurt Busch. Tony Stewart has moved into the 5th spot, and he's about 3 seconds behind these guys.
Tell you what's been impressive on that 2 car is on his pit stop. Last time they were in at 133, he only took right side tires. So the left side tires have been on that car for, since lap 108.
That's the first time Rusty used the high line all day.
Well, he saw Jeff up there, and he said, well, if Jeff thinks it's good, then maybe it is.
Haven't had as many run-ins as these two have had over the last few years. I mean, you go back to the Bristol race and other things before that. When you see a guy coming up on your mirror that maybe you've had some confrontations with, do you race him a little different than some others?
Yes.
So maybe Rusty might be a little more determined to keep Jeff behind him than if it were, say, Mark applying the pressure?
Yes.
I think that would be the case.
Racers. I love it. By the way, I just want you to know, since you were busy yesterday, I had great fun when NASCAR issued the warning for you to calm down yesterday when you were bouncing fenders with people.
Well, as you guys know in the booth, we had radio difficulties, and that message never got to me. I'm surprised you didn't let me know that, BP.
I should have.
Caution.
I should have. I didn't realize that Tommy Baldwin and those guys had not told you, but yes, we'd have told you that. Calm down, Wally, and you'd have said, I am calm. Yeah, exactly. You said, for what?
I understand it was in great fun, but certainly not unexpected.
What do you mean by that?
Well, bouncing fenders with people and being a little aggressive would certainly fit your personality.
Thank you, Alan.
That was a left-handed compliment, I believe.
Lesson there, don't let Wally drive the rent-a-car when he leaves the racetrack.
And they don't.
No. He sits in the back, minds his own business. Oh. This is what we were talking about yesterday. Wally's in the 6 car. Let's see, a little lap car tangle there. A little pit road shuffle here. You haven't seen this yet, have you?
Wow, no.
That was close.
Yeah.
Wally banging fenders with the 19. Now, Wally got into it with Kerry Earnhardt a couple times.
Kerry Earnhardt gets in the left rear, so Wally says, Kerry, you shouldn't knock me out of the way to take the spot. So, ooh, that was a great save, by the way, trying to keep from crashing the 24 car.
Wow, that was closer than I even thought.
Yes.
The action was happening all around you.
I was talking to Jeff Green about that this morning. I said, I looked up and saw you guys doored in my mirror. But it was close.
But we were proud of you.
And we did confirm that the 18 car lost his brakes going down in turn 1 and started running in the back of the cars, Jeff Green and the 33 car of Tony Raines.
And it's a good thing. I know Jeff probably doesn't feel this way, but it's a good thing he was there, because if Mike would have hit that wall without hitting one of those guys, he would have hit that wall a ton.
Actually, he does feel that way. Both Benny and I were talking with him this morning, and he said that very thing. He said, I didn't want to tear up a race car, but we can rebuild the race car. Mike could have got hurt if he hit the wall with no brakes.
Boy, this is a great battle. Jeff Gordon's gotten by Rusty Wallace. Now Mark has gotten by Rusty.
Tires finally giving up. So Jeff Gordon to 2nd, Mark Martin to 3rd, Rusty Wallace to 4th, and Tony Stewart hanging in there in 5th, a couple of seconds farther behind them.
But you know what? Those tires took a lot longer to have a problem, I think, than I thought. I mean, what was that? Would you say, Alan, 130 something?
108 was when the lights had been on Rusty's car.
Man, that's a long time. So if it came right down to a 40 or 50 lap run, maybe at the end, that might be a good move. Just take 2 tires.
Rusty running now in 4th position behind Kurt Busch. Green flag pit stops are coming up. We'll come back for them. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Lap 2:15 just on the board at Phoenix. Kurt Busch is in the lead currently, and time is running out for his teammate Mark Martin to win the 2002 Winston Cup Championship. But whether he wins it or not, it's been truly an amazing year for Roush Racing. The Roush 2002 success story started early and includes the great story of second-year driver Kurt Busch, who has now won 3 times. And of course, Mark Martin has won once this year, but he's still in contention for that big championship trophy. And there's also Matt Kenseth with 4 wins this season. All told, Roush Racing has 8 wins this year. And you include the Busch Series championship yesterday with Greg Biffle, and the possibility of winning the championship next week, next Sunday even. And Jack Roush's plane crash in Alabama. It's been a remarkable year for Jack Roush and all the people that work for him.
Yeah, the fact that Jack Roush is even here is the most remarkable thing. There's the leader, Kurt Busch. A lower 2.5 seconds in front of Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace.
Kurt Busch trying to make it 3 for 4 after back-to-back wins at Martinsville and Atlanta. Finished 3rd at Rockingham last Sunday. 750 winning percentage in Winston Cup Racing's awfully good at any stretch of a season. It's out in front by 2.5 seconds on Jeff Gordon. Remember that Kurt did not stop under that last caution at 133. He was the only one who stayed out, so he last pitted at lap 120.
All right, here we go. Battle for the 2nd spot. Mark Martin is there on the inside, but Jeff Gordon likes that high line.
Michael Waltrip's car is there.
That is close. Call leaning on your buddy there.
Well, these guys seem to be racing harder in the last month than they've raced all year long. I mean, these guys, you know, sometimes we've seen Jeff Gordon in that situation, back up, let Mark Martin go. They don't do that anymore.
No,
they race.
Well, especially that guy in the 6 car. He knows he's got to race as hard as he can. And he's showing it today.
Mark Martin needing to gain ground on Tony Stewart in the championship. And here comes the leader, Kurt Busch, onto pit road. Remember, I just talked about how long it had been since he stopped. Now, Kurt can make it from here to the checkers on fuel, considering how far he's just run. So, Bill, this could be the final pit stop for the 97 today.
Absolutely right, Alan. If it stays green, they will not stop again. The car started out free, has stayed that way. Kurt thinks that the track is tightening up. He just wants 4 tires and fuel. No major changes to the car. So Kurt Busch looking for another win. Just up pit road in front of him now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. pulls into his pit stall. They go to work on the right side. This will be 4 tires and fuel and a track bar adjustment for Jr., who might have lost this race when he ran out of fuel. He's never had the same car since, trying to fight his way back to the front. He's on his way. It's going to get busy down here.
Yeah, sure is, because now that some of the leaders have made a move for fresh tires, they're going to be faster, and you're going to need to get back out and get your tires quick, Bill.
Dave Blaney getting tires and fuel. His car has been very strong, very consistent throughout the day. This is 4 tires. They've already got the rights on, around to the left, trying to get Blaney a strong finish. Pat, Marty.
Bill, what a wonderful run for Elliott Sadler and this team in the 8th position right now. A little bit free. He said, don't mess with the chassis. Best he's finished before today at Phoenix is 27th. They're on the track to do much better than that today.
A lot of people have been keeping an eye on the 44 car. Christian Fittipaldi had slowed down the back straightaway, but he has made it back to pit road. We will stay under the green flag.
Almost like he ran out of gasoline in that 44 car, but here comes Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Rusty Wallace, all down pit road, fuel and tires.
Dale Jarrett's in, Terry Labonte's in, Bobby Labonte's in, and Bill Weber's got the championship leader.
Well, this will be a big stop for these guys. They may not win the championship today, but they can take a big step toward locking it up. The car's been tight all day. Got a little freer, Tony told him just before he came down pit road. The wedge wrench is in. They make the adjustment. It's 4 tires and fuel. Rusty got 2 tires on his last stop a long time ago. Wants 4 fresh ones now. Seemed to take a long time on the left side. He's on his way. Marty.
Matt Kenseth was so fast we couldn't even catch a stop on pit road. Bill, great stop for the DeWalt guys, as we've come to expect. A little bit tight, put the air pressure back where it was, and that's all he wanted.
I tell you what, you put the pressure on those pit guys on that 17 car, and they're awesome. Meanwhile, Schneider.
Oh, the leader, Jeff Gordon, is on pit road, BP. Just a little, well, actually, wicked tight was his description of the car. Started a little bit tight, got worse the longer he ran. They put the wedge back where it was when he came down pit road last time, when he was happy with the car.
When the 24 pitted, big moment for Mark Martin because he led a lap. Gained 5 bonus points toward the championship. Tony Stewart has not led today, and at this point, every point counts for Mark.
And here he comes on the pit road.
Following Kyle Petty in. Ward Burton, Mike Wallace also on pit road. Matt?
And Al, this is going to be possible combo platter. They're talking about an air pressure adjustment in the right front. Mark Martin's car had gone to the tight side back on lap 132. They didn't make any adjustments. Still no wrench on the left side as the left side tires are going on for Martin. Waited till Gordon pitted, he led a lap, and then he hit pit road.
Pretty good pit stop.
Jimmy Johnson is now the leader. Ryan Newman is second. John Andretti is third. Those 3 topped off on the lap 183 caution, so I'm kind of surprised to see Johnson coming in here. Dave?
And Alan, before they started making green flag stops, Jimmy had driven all the way from 21st to 11th. Of course, now he gives up the lead. The crew makes a chassis adjustment. The car has been loose all day. That's a wedge adjustment they're going to make. They also make an air pressure adjustment. He's still a little bit loose, but Jimmy has passed a lot of cars today, recovering from that pit miscue last time.
So Johnson heads away. Ryan Newman now the leader. Ryan starting on the pole, and here he comes. I guess you got to come in and get the fresh tires, you know.
That's exactly right, because on fresh tires, the speed is around 28 seconds flat. Used tires, it's over 29 seconds. You just can't give up too many of those seconds, Marty.
John Andretti hits pit road. BP, the car tight for Andretti. They make an air pressure adjustment in the right front. Take a pound out of the right front tire. Ryan Newman comes down pit road as the leader now. I asked Matt Borland earlier, are you tight or are you loose? He said, how about both? They are tight in, loose off the corner. They take a pound out of the right front, a pound into the right rear. That should fix the tight in. They take 2 rounds into the left rear wedge. That should fix the loose off problem for Ryan Newman. They have been struggling much more than they thought they would today. A long time on the right side for the 12 bunch on this pit stop. Now they're changing left side tires for Ryan Newman. The car's had on the pole today. Just hasn't been what they thought it would be chassis-wise, though.
Did you figure out what was going on there with that right rear?
No, I couldn't.
Nope.
They might have been making a spring rubber change back there, and that takes a couple extra seconds.
Marty, follow up on that for us. They had the problem was on the right rear. Figure out what happened there to the 12's pit stop. Things have cycled around. Kurt Busch is back in the lead. But guess who came off pit road in second place?
Tony Stewart, I will guess, since I'm looking at the monitor.
Tony Stewart has moved up to second on the exchange of pit stops. Jeff Gordon third, Matt Kenseth fourth, Dave Blaney fifth.
Oh, what's wrong with the right front fender on Tony's car? Did I not see damage on the right front fender?
Mark Martin has fallen back to sixth on the exchange of stops. See if we can get a better look at it. Yeah.
A little bit of a ding right there beside the 20. Made contact with someone.
So Tony Stewart, the championship leader, gaining spots on his pit stop, but picking up a wrinkle somewhere along the way. Meantime, advantage Stewart as Martin has fallen back to sixth.
Just those few extra laps that Mark ran on those old tires, and there he is coming through, trying to plow through some heavy traffic as he and Rusty Wallace in the 2 car trying to get through Kyle Petty and whoever that other car was, Joe Nemechek. Man, Rusty looks fast right now.
See the difference from Tony Stewart back to Mark Martin. So for Mark being in front of Tony all race long, now inside the final quarter of the thing, he finds himself on the losing end of the stick.
Well, you lose so much ground on those old tires when the guys you're racing with are on new tires. I mean, it's amazing how much time you can make up on a car.
4 laps was the difference between their pit stops.
And that's about 4 seconds.
That's exactly right.
And right now, Mark Martin is 5 seconds, a little over 5 seconds behind. Marty, what went on with the 12 car down there in the right rear?
BP, I have the answer for you. Before they could change the right rear tire, NASCAR officials made them cut this piece of side skirt off. It was flapping in the wind, and they didn't want it to become a piece of debris to cause a caution on the racetrack. So they had to cut this off before they could change the right rear tire, before the official would allow them to do it. Now, I know my buddy Wally would love for me to hold this with my hands, but it was right by the side pipe, so it's a little hot. That's why I'm holding it with these pair of pliers here.
And the way you found out it was hot is you picked it up first, didn't you, Marty?
No, I did not, Wally.
Okay.
Actually, I picked it up with this first, so and then give me a little bit of credit.
That's an important piece right there. That piece there again, we talked earlier about creating that vacuum underneath that car. Without that skirt, the car's not going to stick as well.
Bill, how did the 20 car get the damage on the right front fender?
You know, Benny, that happened earlier in the race when he was coming down pit road. The crew, some of the guys weren't even aware of it, but he did ask about it. They said it didn't look that bad, and he hasn't complained about it since. So not a big deal, something that happened earlier in the race, we believe, in a pit road incident, because he said something when he was coming down pit road, like, here we go again, because he had that incident a couple of races ago. But no big deal right now for the 20.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get into the ductwork or anything there. The brake openings and everything are lower than where that damage is, so that shouldn't affect him too much. But obviously
Tony,
it hasn't.
I don't think Tony's as good right now as he was, because we saw Jeff Gordon drive by him. Matt Kenseth has driven by him, moving him back to 4th spot, and we see Blaney driving up right behind him.
But earlier, his car was better in the long run. I don't know if that'll be the case now, but it took about 35, 40 laps before the 20 car really started showing what they had. How about it, Bill?
It's too free now, Wally. Remember, they had the problem yesterday in happy hour. He was tight. Now they tried to, instead of was getting a little free, and they wanted to free him up a little more. Now he's just a little bit too free, and that's hindering his performance.
Yeah, that's tough to be loose here at Phoenix. It really is. So the only thing he can hope for right now is as the fuel burns off, the car gets tighter and it'll neutral out, so to speak. And if that happens, he will get faster, or at least maintain.
So Blaney trying to challenge Stewart for 4th place. Mark Martin trying to close on them from 6th. And it's all going on behind Kurt Busch, trying to go to victory lane for the 3rd time in 4 weeks. He's out in front in the late stages at Phoenix.
You haven't missed a thing. Kurt Busch continues to lead here at Phoenix, looking for his 4th win of the season. Out front here as we all were approaching the closing laps, 245 of the 312 in the book. Busch is up front, but the story is a little deeper in the field. Jeff Gordon's chasing the 97. But Tony Stewart and Mark Martin in that championship battle. Martin currently running 8th on the racetrack, trying to work his way around Dave Blaney. Update that up to 5th on the racetrack. But the story involves Tony Stewart, who is slipping backwards in the field. Came in leading the championship standings, had a car that was tight most of the day. Before he came in last time, he said the car was starting to free itself up. So they helped it at his request and freed it up a little bit more with a chassis adjustment. Just a few laps ago, he radioed in, "Sorry guys, it's way too free now, the car too loose, it's my fault." Greg Zipadelli, calm on the radio, came across saying, "Don't worry about it, drive the car as best you can. If we get a chance, we'll fix it," meaning if there's a caution and he comes down pit road, we'll make the adjustment on the car. Tony Stewart racing for the win every time out, but also racing for a championship this week and next week in Miami, trying to hold on to every precious position and lock out Mark Martin and the rest of the championship contenders. Busch leads, Stewart chasing, Martin in the middle. Alan.
Every spot Tony Stewart might lose, every point he gives up to Mark Martin is every bit that much more pressure that Mark can apply on Tony next weekend down at Homestead. 112 is the gap to start the day. And Mark trying to narrow that a little more if he can get by Dave Blaney for 4th.
That's 5 points. If he can just get by that 77 car, Blaney.
Seen this movie before earlier today, haven't we, with Mark working on that 77 and taking a while to get around him?
Yeah, and with the traffic in front of him, it makes it even more difficult. In the meantime, Rusty's sneaking up on him.
And I tell you what, there we go, Kurt Busch, he's the leader, but right behind him is coming Jeff Gordon, closer and closer, only 0.8 of a second behind Busch.
John Andretti there, the 43 car started on the outside of the front row. Now the first car lap down in 18th place. Even though we've had 3 cautions in the race, they've been kind of spread out. This race really has featured a lot of long green flag runs that put a lot of guys way behind. And now Gordon clear of the traffic and setting off in search of Kurt Busch.
0.6 of a second that time behind Kurt Busch.
And faster. Matt Kenseth, though, the fastest of the top 3. Is
that the rev limiter I heard?
Sure sounded like it.
Busch in the high lane, Gordon down low.
And to get to the other end, and they swap. Kurt Busch will run lower than Jeff Gordon does. That time they almost mirrored each other. 0.5 of a second, 1/2 second.
Damn it, you don't ever tell me nothing, Ben.
Mark Martin wanting to know something.
That he's not finding out.
But he's not finding out. Bill, what's happening with Kurt Busch?
The car's good, Benny, but what's going on here is a lot of teamwork. His spotter is telling him where the 24 is running on the racetrack and where he's fastest, and then the guys down here in the pit stall are calling out the times. So Busch is driving the race car, spotter's watching the competition, crew is watching the clock.
And you just saw that, folks. Mark Martin has gotten by Dave Blaney. He's moved into the 4th position. Gained 5 more points on that championship battle.
You know, talked about earlier in the day, Mark Martin kind of being very frank and wearing his emotions on his sleeve. That happens when he's behind the wheel of the race car, too. And I'm sure if you're Ben Leslie as crew chief, you have to understand a little bit of where that emotion's coming from during the race.
But I think everybody's like that. Every driver is like that. Once you get behind the wheel and you're out there doing your business, you're driving these race cars angry. And that emotion comes through on the radio.
It's unbelievable what adrenaline does to a human being. And these drivers right now, as Rusty Wallace is going by Dave Blaney, the adrenaline surge in these drivers right now is as high as anyone gets. and it's just incredible what it does to you.
Dave, how about Mark Martin?
Well, Alan, remember earlier in the race they put out a set of scuffed tires that Mark said were the best that he's had on the car. They only had one set left. That's the set that's on there now. It's working incredibly well, and the report from the crew is that they can make it to the end on fuel.
Getting around the Mike Skinner car, the 4. Skinner is in 25th place now. You know, we talked about the championship standings and gaining points. If you're not familiar with how the NASCAR Winston Cup system works, you get points for every finishing position in every race. The winner of the race gets 175 points. It goes down by 5-point increments, back through 6th place, then 4-point increments, back through 11th place, then 3-point increments, all the way back through the end of the field in 43rd place. Trouble turn 3, got a car on the wall.
Christian Fidipali is damaged.
Against the wall in the middle of 3 and 4, Mark.
Big crash.
Let a couple runs around. For 2 in the right rear wheel, 2 in the right rear.
I tell you what, NASCAR, and we see a lot of cars getting a lap back. John Andretti, Kevin Harney. NASCAR officials will tell Christian Fidipali not to.
I was going to say
so quickly start getting out of that car.
You're right. Unless you're on fire, you do not want to unbuckle when there's cars still coming around to get the caution. Because if somebody slips, if it was oil or something, and would have wound up in that car, it would have been very bad.
Christian Fidipali making his first NASCAR Winston Cup start. Former star on the kart championship car series. His day will come up shy of the finish. Jason Leffler got a piece of it.
Yes, you did that. He's looking and said, you mean I did all that damage? Didn't feel like it was that much damage.
4 tires, 2 rounds down in the right rear. Come on, guys.
Mark Martin's radio.
5,
Dave?
4.
You heard the adjustments, Alan. Scott Kurtz will put that wrench in. He's the catch can man. He reaches over now. He puts the wrench in, and they will turn it 2 rounds to give Mark the adjustment he wants on that chassis. Hopefully the adjustment that will take him to the end. Bill.
Kurt Busch is just a little loose. Jimmy Fennig didn't want to mess with the car too much. It's a 1/10 of a pound of air pressure adjustment on the 97, if you can believe that. He's on pit road. As for the championship leader, Tony Stewart, remember his car was getting too loose, so it's a wedge adjustment that they made to try and tighten him up just a little bit. Stewart had just said the car was starting to come to him. Mark.
Jeff Gordon already away. Bill was 4 tires. He said, I want a little more of what you just gave me around in the right rear to loosen him up just a little bit. But Matt Kenseth went with 2 tires and won the race off pit road.
And I think Rusty Wallace did the same, Marty. Kenseth and Rusty, the first 2 off the pit lane, followed by Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon.
A 1/10 of a pound of air pressure. That's like going, phew.
Yeah. I didn't even know they made a gauge that could read a 1/10 of a pound.
either.
Look how close this was between Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon.
Man, just a foot.
Wow. All right, now what happened to put us under caution? Top of the screen.
I think Christian probably had help on that deal.
With Jason Leffler?
Yeah.
Welcome to NASCAR.
Man. Big lick. Listen, watch that. Here he comes.
Wow.
Tom, go down the Discover card.
Stay in front of me. Go low. Go low.
I don't know.
Attaboy, Richard. You're right on the ball there, buddy. Spotter for a 26 car, Richard Boston.
I don't know if Jason slid up the racetrack. He was awfully high to have a car on the outside of him there.
So under caution here at Phoenix. 2 tires for Matt Kenseth. He's off pit road first. Next weekend is Ford Championship Weekend down at the Homestead Miami Speedway. NBC with live coverage of the season finales for the NASCAR Busch Series Saturday and the NASCAR Winston Cup on Sunday. BP's out at the Roush Racing Team Caliber 360 Racer.
You know, folks, heat is always a problem in the desert, keeping the fluids cool. Race cars are no different. That's why the radiator that keeps the water cool is much larger than a stock car, about 2 or 3 times as big. Also, the oil, that fluid tends to run hot. That's why they have to have the oil cooler, a small radiator here to cool the oil. In the back of the car, the gear also has fluid in the back. This is a pump that pumps fluid out of the gear into a small radiator. All the fluids in the cars have to be cooled. The people in Phoenix understand about keeping fluids cool, Alan.
Hey, another thing, BP, keeping the driver cool. This is a racetrack that the driver really gets a lot of heat from the car because of the temperatures, and it does get warm.
Plenty of sunshine in the Southwest today. Over 100,000 sun-drenched fans on their feet now for a restart that'll come with 48 laps to go. Matt Kenseth and Rusty Wallace, 2 tires only, now have the top 2 spots. Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Tony Stewart make up the rest of the top 6. 18 cars on the lead lap, so a lot of guys down in that inside lane below the lead lap cars for the restart.
Boy, you want to get past these lap cars as quick as possible. Because the faster you can clear the lap traffic, the guy behind you you're racing, if he gets hung up, you can just distance yourself because you've got the whole racetrack to work with, and they don't.
Matt Kenseth, that's what's going on with him. He's gotten away while Rusty Wallace was trying to mess around getting clear of Ward Burton.
Now Kurt Busch has the same problem, trying to get clear of Ward Burton.
See Jeff Gordon trying to come through, and Ryan Newman, 12 car, not on the lead lap, has jumped up there between Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon.
Wally, what do you think? 2 tires. Is that a pretty big gamble, you think, on Robbie Reiser's part?
I don't think so, because I've seen these guys take 2 tires, and it looks like their cars work good for 70 laps or so. So I think it's a great gamble.
Remember back at lap 28, the 17 crew took just 2 tires, and he moved up from 10th to 5th at that point. Marty?
That's one of their points, Alan, and he's now set to Robbie Reiser. Why just 2 tires?
Well, you know, it's probably our only shot here to get some track position and try to win this thing. So we put 2 tires on earlier, and it ran even better than what it did on 4. So why not roll the dice and go for it? If we lose because of 2 tires, it ain't because we didn't try.
He said earlier, hey, we ran this kid out of gas. He's lucky to be on the lead lap. We're going to go for the win. We got nothing to lose. Bill?
Jimmy Fennig, crew chief for Kurt Busch. How good is that car, and how much can a 1/10 of a pound of air pressure change help it?
Well, the car was pretty good, but we need a little bit more forward bite, so we had to make a change, you know. So we just did a little bit, so we'll just see what happens here.
A tenth of a pound?
Like I say, just a little bit, because the car was pretty good.
I think that's all about driver confidence. His driver wanted to hear he was making a change. It was a 1/10.
Yeah, I was going to go look at that gauge at Homestead next week to look. I think what Jimmy's saying is that they just took a little bit out, just a tiny bit. Here you see Jeff Gordon is working over that 12 car, and I'm sure Jeff's a little frustrated right now because that 12 car is a lap down.
Troubles for Bobby Labonte. Off the pace, was in 12th place. And if something's broken mechanically on that car, that's going to make some Joe Gibbs Racing people nervous.
Yes, because Joe Gibbs also owns the 20 car that Tony Stewart right now has in 6th place. That car, the 20 Home Depot car.
Bobby Labonte slow on the apron in between 3 and 4, but he will make it back around to the pit road. And you see the gap from the championship leader up to Matt Kenseth.
Gordon did clear the 12 car Newman. Newman gave him a break there coming off of turn 2.
Bobby Labonte has taken his car to the garage.
Those guys are really down on the apron now, BP. And I don't understand why Tony's down on the apron. If his car is loose.
Well, here's something we haven't seen in a while. Junior passing somebody.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., that 8 car that was so fast earlier on, moves into the 7th position. But he's 5 seconds behind Matt Kenseth. Can he get to all these cars and get to Kenseth? Even though we know he's very, very fast.
Junior led this race from lap 7 to lap 117 with the exception of a couple laps on an exchange of pit stops. Then they ran it out of fuel under the green flag. He fell back at that point at lap 117 to 13 seconds behind the leader, and he's not really been heard from since.
And you see Tony Stewart pointing Earnhardt by there down the backstretch. Tony put his finger out the window and said, go ahead and take me down on the bottom.
Because right now, Tony Stewart's back in 7th position. That's not too bad, concerned that Mark Martin is only in 5th spot. But what he doesn't want is just someone in their hurry to make contact and spin him like Christian Fidipali a moment ago. That could be disaster for Tony Stewart.
And he's not losing much in 7th place with Mark just running in 5th. So he's in very comfortable stead where the championship is concerned. 3rd place here. Jeff Gordon not quite able to get alongside.
Although I think, let's see. Jeff's car looks like it's working a little bit better than even it was before they made pit stops.
But he needs to let that car drift up off turn 4, and Kurt Busch is there.
Got to be careful not to drive in too deep, especially when you're down on the bottom, because if you go in a little bit too deep, you wind up right in the guy's door on the outside.
Behind them, Tony Stewart just gave up 7th spot to Dave Blaney in the yellow 77. Tony back to 8th, Dale Jarrett behind him next.
I tell you what, this battle between these cars, if this thing stays green, is taking their chance of winning away.
And Kurt really slid up there that time, BP. I think he may have gotten one a little bit too deep because he went up as high as I've seen him all day.
How about a little crossover move? Not able to make it stick. So Jeff Gordon to 3rd, Kurt Busch back to 4th, but they're well behind Matt Kenseth. Kenseth out in front of Rusty Wallace by 2 seconds. 35 laps to go at Phoenix on NBC. NASCAR on NBC from Phoenix International Raceway. Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing. Second to last race of the season. 29 laps to go. Matt Kenseth with a 2-tire stop a short while ago, getting track position and the lead. He's made the most of it, moving out in front of Rusty Wallace by 2.2 seconds. How about Tony Stewart, Bill? He's fallen back to 8th.
He has, Alan, and remember, first he was tight, then he was loose. Well, he just radioed in on this set of tires. I'm as tight as I have been all day. Tony Stewart has slipped back to 8th in the field, watching points slip away, trying to lock a Winston Cup championship and enhance his chances next week. So that's the story on the 20, and you can bet this team is certainly concerned with what happened to their fellow teammate, the 18 car, Dave.
And that is Bobby Labonte. He's already in his street clothes. Bobby, you had a long discussion with your motor builder, Mark Cronquist. What do you believe happened with the motor, and are you concerned for Tony?
No, something just came out the bottom end on it. It sputtered one time on the back straightaway and broke on the bottom end. I don't know what it could have been. There's a couple things it could have been, but anyway, it just blew up.
Okay, and remember, guys, this team's motto is 1 team and 2 cars, so we got to watch the 20. Make sure he's okay for the rest of the race.
Kurt Busch running 5th, being worked on by Dale Earnhardt Jr. These 2 drivers have dominated the front spot on the day. Earnhardt Jr. led 105 laps, Kurt Busch 117. Doesn't look like either one of them is going to contend for the win at this point unless the caution comes out and changes things around.
We're right out of time for these guys to get up and catch Matt Kenseth, because right now they're about 5 seconds behind.
I'll tell you what, when Kurt Busch has to run that real high line, he really loses a lot of grip and has to just regroup. That's the second time he's done that. I don't know if he's just getting in too deep or the car's just pushing really bad when he goes in high, but the same thing happened when Mark was racing him.
And just so you know, during that last break, Mark did get by Kurt Busch and pick up the 4th spot, so he's just ahead of these 2 now. Boy, what a mistake for Junior's team when that car ran out of gas back at lap 117. Christian Fidipali involved in an accident a short time ago. Dave Burns is with him.
Christian, you were just released from the medical center. How are you feeling? And tell us about the incident.
Okay. Had a carbon seat inside the car, and I guess that helped me a lot. It was a pretty big hit. Number 7 was down the inside. I was a couple of laps because I had run out of fuel. So we were a couple of laps down. I just wanted to finish the race, and I don't know if he got distracted or something. He just ran into the back of me, spun me, and I went straight into the wall backwards.
And we're glad you're okay. Remember, Christian mentioned the carbon seat. The Petty's one of only a couple of teams that are running a new design carbon fiber seat, and Christian credits it.
Fidipali joining Bobby Labonte, Scott Whmer, and Tony Raines. Only 4 drivers out of this one. Haven't talked much about DJ today, BP, but he's having a good solid run.
Yeah, he's 9th spot, and he's about a half second behind Tony Stewart. Let's go on board with him. Let's check the visibility as we go on board the UPS car.
Ooh, DJ's tight.
Let's go down in turn 1 and drive into that setting sun and see if it's a problem. Oh, no, we can see fine now. Fine.
There looks like fluid was hitting his windshield there, BP, off whoever's that car is in front of him. That's Tony Stewart. Could have swore I saw some spray coming on the windshield.
Matt, what is in the 88 pit?
Benny, he's been tight most of the afternoon. In fact, DJ told Todd Perry, the crew chief, I can give up a little on the off. You just need to help me in the center. It's just extremely too tight. They made both a track bar and wedge adjustment on his last stop. It's helped a little, but not a lot.
Yeah, just riding with him there a while ago into turn 3. You see, right when he gets to the center, the car moves up about a lane and a half, and he's got to wait on that. That's where you say diamond the racetrack. That's where you go in low, the car drifts to the center, you wait till it stops sliding, then you bring the car back down and get on the gas.
Dale Jarrett, the 97 winner of this race here in Phoenix, had a problem early in that race, got a lap down, and under green made up the lap, passed the entire field, and one going away.
Visibility is not too bad. Doesn't seem to have worsened any since we saw before.
I'm not sure those big grandstands down there in 1 and 2 hasn't helped that sun.
I really do believe that helps the situation a great deal.
Dave Blaney trying to move up. Trying to get 6th place from Kurt Busch.
That 10th pound of air pressure that they made, that adjustment they made in the 97 car, whatever happened, he just is not the same car it was before they made that pit stop.
Kurt Busch will end the day having led the most laps in this race.
Oh, baby.
And that was what I was talking about earlier. If that car on the bottom goes in too deep, you just wind up sliding into the car above you. And that's exactly what happened to Dave. He ran in there a little bit too hard, trying to pass the 97 car.
And now he better let the 97 driver calm down before he tries to pass him again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that settles down in 6th and 7th.
Gonna try it on the high side.
Good day for Roush Racing. 11th is their worst entry.
And that's the guy that won the race the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Jeff Burton.
Plus the NASCAR Busch Series championship clinch yesterday here. All told, not too bad. Not too bad. Heard Kurt kind of have to wait on the gas there just a second. All right, now he's going to try him again.
Yeah, but he's going to be a little bit more careful this time, I guarantee you.
Coming up on 15 to go. How about the championship contenders? Mark Martin runs 4th. Tony Stewart runs 8th. Mark has led today. Tony has not. 112 will become 89 if they finish now, heading to the season's final race next Sunday, just south of Miami.
Unfortunately, Mark Martin is going to say, now if we could just subtract 25 points from that, 89, that would be, that would be really good.
That was where we were last Sunday, 87 when the checkered flag fell. But then, the tech line problems. Penalty that cost Mark Martin 25 points. How about the 3rd through 7th place in the championship that we've been talking about today? Look at this. Tight. Man. And there's some serious bucks separating some of those positions, too.
I mean, Rusty Wallace is 8 behind Kurt Busch, and he and Johnson are tied right now. Jeff Gordon's 1 back. Ryan Newman 23 back.
Just goes 3rd from 7th there, Alan. Wow. See what that is. That's only 23 points, but that's 4 spots.
I'm flipping through my record book trying to get to the page there. Let's see. 3rd pays $1,050,000.
7th pays
$550,000.
So there you have it.
$500,000. That's all.
About 100,000 a spot in there. Not that the money has anything to do with it, of course.
No, not with you drivers. Check this out. Where you start doesn't necessarily matter in these races anymore. Matt Kenseth in particular. His victories this season and his career never started farther forward than 20th.
And today, 28th.
Yeah. And here's an interesting stat, BP. Remember how Robbie Reiser talked about when they changed 2 tires, the first time the car ran faster than it did on 4? The fastest lap Matt Kenseth has run all day was at lap 267. Just after they put just 2 tires on the car. So for that, we'll give Robbie Reiser the Autotrader.com move of the race.
He's got my vote.
The big attaboy. The 2-tire call and knowing his car could handle it and get away.
That and darn good pit stops.
I guess. How about it, Marty?
Well, Alan, we started our full day of NASCAR on NBC with the Winston Cup Pit Crew Challenge. The team that won this 17 bunch for the 2nd year in a row in record time. How dedicated are these guys? This morning, Sunday morning, they left Charlotte to come to Phoenix. Their plane left at 4 a.m. Eastern time. They got here at 6 a.m. Mountain time. So when they get home tonight, they'll have been up for almost 24 hours. So what did they do when the race was on the line? They delivered a 6.3-second 2-tire stop. How many times have these guys on this DeWalt team put Matt in a position to win a race, and they've done it again today?
I'll tell you what, you give these guys a goal and you say you got to go do it like that pit crew race, try to win the race, they are tough.
And you know what? When you come in and your guys give you a good pit stop, that pumps a driver up. That really does.
4 wins so far this season for Matt Kenseth. Rockingham in February, Texas, Michigan, and then Richmond in September. Last year at Phoenix, he started 38th. He finished 4th. Now he's in search of a 5th victory in 2002. Matt's from Cambridge, Wisconsin. Saw some race fans walking around the track with the little foam cheese hats, like the Green Bay Packer fans. Cheese hats with the number 17 on the side. A lot of folks from Wisconsin down here at this Phoenix race, and they're going to be really happy in about another 8 laps.
I see Rusty Wallace, and I tell you, this is going to be tough for Rusty to handle, to be this close, less than 2 seconds behind Matt Kenseth, that victory that he wants so badly.
For Rusty, it's going to be the 4th time this season he will have finished 2nd if he hangs on.
Yeah, if he hangs on.
Jeff Gordon trying to close.
He's coming fast.
And right behind Jeff Gordon is Mark Martin, who's running very well right now. We see the Viagra car right there. Mark comes into the picture.
Mark told us he couldn't drive any harder than he does. If he did, he'd crash. He's on the edge now. He's had a fine day. Going to finish in 4th. Will gain points on Tony Stewart and keep from being closed out today. He'll send it to Homestead next Sunday. And what might have been for the Budwagon?
A great comeback for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his crew to come back and be running in 5th with just a handful of laps to go. But you're right, what might have been.
Lap 117 ran out of gas while leading. Fell 13 seconds behind, never recovered. I guess they'll be disappointed with 6th, Kurt Busch and his team.
Oh yes, very much so.
But I don't think Dave Blaney will be too terribly disappointed with 7.
No, because they have been competitive. They've been in position at the right situation. They could run in the top 5 today.
He won off his career best Winston Cup finish, which is a trio of 6th-place runs. And for Tony Stewart, Disappointed that he didn't win the race, as always. That's a given with Tony. But in the big picture, if he finishes 8th today, he'll go to Homestead in very comfortable shape to try and win the NASCAR Winston Cup title, a track that he has won 2 of the 3 Winston Cup races that have ever been run there.
And remember, guys, those points we just saw on the screen, that doesn't mean anything until post-race inspection. We found that out last week at Rockingham.
Yes, we did. Matt Kenseth coming to 2 to go. The 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup Rookie of the Year edged out Dale Earnhardt Jr. for that honor. Finished 6th in his first ever Winston Cup race. Came back in 1998, substituting for Bill Elliott up in Dover, Delaware. Now he's 2 miles from his 5th checkered flag of the season. That'd be a big day for his sponsor, huh? He gave away $1 million earlier today.
That guy John Smith from Delaware, Ohio, in some contest just prior to the race won $1 million. I know, that's right. There's Katie, Matt's wife, watching on. White flag.
Down to the final mile for Matt Kenseth. Matt will be the 13th different winner in 15 Winston Cup races here at Phoenix. The 3rd Roush Racing driver to take a checkered flag in that group here. Mark Martin, Jeff Burton are the others. Kenseth will have led 55 of the 312 laps. The 2-tire call at lap 259, the key to victory. Kenseth got away after the final restart and picks up his 5th win of 2002. Matt Kenseth, the winner at Phoenix.
Good job, guys. Great pit stop. If you wouldn't have got me out in front of the 2, we probably wouldn't have won. Great job figuring the fuel mileage, Ross. Good job, guys.
They won the Pit Crew Championship a week ago. They made the winning pit stop today. Matt Kenseth has taken the Checker Auto Parts 500 at Phoenix.
And Rusty Wallace said, congratulations, you dirty dog, you.
For Mark Martin, a 4th place finish. Disappointed that he didn't win, but he's extended the championship down to the race in Homestead next Sunday and closed the gap on Tony Stewart. Marty?
Robbie Reiser, your car started 20th. You came up to the front, you ran him out of fuel, you went back, you came up to the front again. Can you do that again for me?
No.
Why not? That was impressive.
I'll tell you what, we got a great driver and a great race team, and that's all I can say about it. The guys back at Rivalry Racing built us a heck of a race car, and Matt did a great job, and the guys over the wall kept us in this thing. I kept digging to put us back up front and win this thing. Great job by them.
Very impressive, and this is the 2nd time this car has won, and it's won both times it's run, Alan.
I think I'd bring that car a lot. Yeah. Maybe next weekend.
I think I'd go home and take that car right on down to Miami.
Matt Kenseth, Cambridge, Wisconsin. 6th career NASCAR Winston Cup win. He'll be headed to Victory Lane, giving Jack Roush yet another trophy in 2002. Mark Martin, valiant effort today. Led a lap, got the bonus points for that. Hard-fought 4th place finish. And the gap between Mark and Tony Stewart now, Dave, just 89 points heading to the season's final race.
And Mark Martin exits the car now getting a cool drink and a rag, and obviously worked very, very hard today. Mark, on the way in, you were very complimentary to your crew. You couldn't win. Where was the car lacking?
Track position mostly. We had a good car. It was good enough to win if we could have been out front, but we couldn't do the things that we needed to get out front and then have a car to win. So just one of those even up days. 17 never passed us all day, but he hung around there with us and did great pit strategy at the end. We did our best. We had a good enough car to contend for it. We just got ourselves a little too far back in the pecking order.
And so how do you feel then going to Homestead next week, still with an opportunity, outside chance?
I think we raced as tough as we could today. I'm proud of this whole Viagra team. It was a great car, a great course today. Great effort. And, things could have easily gone our way from where we were at. We had a car that was good enough to contend for the win, and that's all I can ask for.
All right, they will show up, guys, definitely, and they'll give it their best shot next week in Miami. To Bill Whmer.
Matt Kenseth in Victory Lane here in Phoenix, his 5th win of the season. Wheel off, climbing out of the car. An amazing performance by driver and crew. and the calls by his crew chief today here in the Arizona desert. High fives all around. Already got the kiss from his wife, Katie. And Matt Kenseth back in victory lane, win number 5 this season. How about that one?
That was unbelievable. We had a great day. You know, it's the first time Robbie's ever ran me out of gas, and you know, I thought we ruined the race, but our Duel Ford Taurus handled flawlessly all day. It was great. We have some great sponsors on this car: AT&T, Broadband, Kraft Singles, Gatorade. A lot of people that helped us out, and it's been an unbelievable year. I never thought we'd beat a victory lane. I thought it was gonna be hard to get here once, much less 5 times. It's been unbelievable.
2 tires.
Yeah, we actually stumbled on that sort of by accident at the beginning of the race. We you know, started so by our backs, I qualified so poorly. We got 2 early in the race, and the car was faster on 2 than it was on 4. It was just unreal. So we put 2 on at the end of the race, and sure enough, it was way faster laps than I could have ran putting on 4. So it was just it was the right thing to do at the end of the race.
Any way you can sum up this season with 1 to go, the fact that you have been to victory lane 5 times?
It's just been a dream season. I mean, who would have thought we could have won 5 races this year? It's just unbelievable. You know, the year goes by so fast, and we race so many weeks, we travel so much, it don't really get to sink in, but we get to sit back and look at it this winter. It's just been an unbelievable year.
Congratulations.
Thanks, brother.
Matt Kenseth in victory lane. From Matt Kenseth to Matt Yoakum.
And Tony Stewart comes home 8th. Describe your day, Smoke.
Just another day in paradise, I guess. I mean, we weren't bad. We didn't have a bad car. We really proud of Zippy and the guys. We made some pretty big changes last night and didn't really know how it was going to affect the car, but the car was pretty good today. You know, just something we missed that kept us from being as good as the guys. But
Junior coming in, goosing him there.
Shoot, he wouldn't goose me, kick the crap out of me back here. But anyway, no, we put on a real loose and made an adjustment, and then you know, came in for that last pit stop, and we put the adjustment back and put tires on it, and thought that we would be okay. And just must have had a really free set of tires too from the end there, and that just got us a little bit out of adjustment there at the end. But you know, I'm looking at the board, and we didn't get hurt too bad today. So you know, now we're going to a place that I really like, and a track that I'm looking forward to. We ran really good there, and I got cheated on my win there last year. I got to go back and get my dominance back at my track.
Now, how special would it be to go back and win at your track? You should have won all 3. Like you said, you've won there twice, and you had a wicked test earlier there this past week.
Well, gee, Matt, what do you think? You think it'd be fun?
I think it'd be pretty cool.
I think it'd be a blast. So I got to go to the Outlaw Banquet. I'm going to go see my sprint car driver who locked down second to points yesterday. So I'm going to get a shower and go and hang out to make it with him tonight.
Second in points and car owner points, second in driver points. His World of Outlaw driver, Danny the Dude Lasowski. Stewart looking for a Winston Cup championship next week at Homestead. Alan?
Tony has won 2 of the 3 races there, and he'll take an 89-point lead into the season's final race. That means Tony Stewart needs to finish 22nd or better if Mark Martin wins the race to lock up his first NASCAR Winston Cup championship. Lots more post-race coverage from Phoenix coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot of time.
It's the Autotrader.com post-race show. Continuing coverage today here in Phoenix in the aftermath of Matt Kenseth's win in the second-to-last race of the NASCAR Winston Cup season. Better than 100,000 fans on hand. Beginning to file out under beautifully sunny skies moments ago, the rivals for the championship making the walk back to the garage together. They'll fight for the title. They'll do it on friendly terms. Marty.
Alan, the man that finished second today, Rusty Wallace, 2-tire stop at the end. I think you can honestly say after this one, you left nothing on the table, Rusty.
I don't think we did. We had a really good handling car all day long, and in order to keep that track position, a lot of guys were 2-tired, and after we 2-tired, I said, man, I think it's really making the car handle better. So we did 2 tires, 4 tires, 2 tires, 4 tires, and at the end with 45 to go, we did 2, and it worked out real good. We've gained a lot of points, and darn, I haven't won yet. I'm getting closer and closer and closer. We've got 1 more race to go, so I hope we can do it. But it's been a really good year so far. Boy, the car was really fast today. It's our best car we've got, and so now we're going to take it back to the shop, clean it up, and take it right to Homestead and take our best bullet there.
I know that wind's eating at you, Rusty. You going to be able to sleep this week?
Nah, hell, I don't sleep at all hardly anyway. Truly worrying about this thing, but if it's meant to be, it'll happen. You know, I just hate to let that streak of 16 straight years of winning quit. And Billy says, I hate to be the crew chief that's with you if it does happen. So we're giving everything we got.
And he made that decision to take this car to Homestead on pit road after the race. Dave?
And finishes of 27th and 37th are roundly trounced today by Junior finishing 5th. You got to feel great about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. We ran out of gas, which is really stupid of us, but we miscalculated. Made a lot of mistakes on pit road. We're just struggling. We got a lot to prove on pit road during our pit stops. I think the guys are really going to buckle down, hopefully, this offseason. But we're starting to make some gains on getting to where we want to be as a team. I hope everybody's kind of noticing how much better we've done over the past several months. And I want to give a shout out to the Dirty Mo Posse back home, all the boys. I don't know if I'll see you tonight. It's a long ride home, but can't wait to get back.
Tell about your right foot, because I think that's why the fuel mileage was miscalculated, because your right foot's a little sore.
Oh, yeah. Just mashing the gas. You know, I don't know what the bottom of it looks like, but mash the gas so hard just cause you're like, you know, you're wanting to go, and I was trying to catch Mark at the end, and I swear to God, I must have knocked a hole in the floorboard there trying to catch him. But
well, they can repair that, and he comes home with his 11th top 5 of the season, guys.
All right, here are the results from today's NASCAR Winston Cup race at Phoenix. Matt Kenseth, 5th win of 2002, and it has, as Matt said in Victory Lane, been a great season for that 17 team.
It's been a fantastic year. Jeff Gordon's car today was a very, very good race car. Martin, I'm telling you, these guys drove today while as hard as I've seen them drive in years.
They drove hard, and next week they're going to have to drive pretty hard, too.
Season high finish for Dave Blaney in the 77 car.
And Kenny Wallace beat Jeff Burton by about a half car length coming down to the start-finish line on the last lap.
That 43 car, because he finished all the laps, I did the math. 22,016 books donated, because we ran all the laps yesterday. Cheerio spoonful.
Yeah, Cheerios, a program that you and John were both doing with Cheerios this weekend to donate books to a reading charity here in Phoenix.
That's a lot of books, 22,000 books.
I guess. You're not carrying them all, are you?
I don't think I've read 22 books, let alone. Can't even count that high.
That opens up a lot of responses, none of which would be good.
I know.
And we see that 38 cars still running at the end. Bobby Labonte had that engine problem. He's out of the race. Jamie McMurray crashed early, ran some laps, but fell out before the race was over.
Christian Fidipali, Scott Whmer, both involved in crashes. Tony Raines with mechanical failures. A couple moments ago, Dave Burns spoke with today's third-place finisher, Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon finishing 3rd. And Jeff, after talking with you yesterday and knowing how your car was doing, you guys made a big comeback to finish 3rd, didn't you?
Well, I think it just says a lot about this race team, how hard these guys fight every time we come out to the racetrack, and this you know, effort right here. There's a lot that was put into it. We came here and we tested. We thought we found something, you know, and built a good race car. Came back here and backed that up with a good solid run on Friday qualifying. Great solid run today. I mean, I thought we had one of the best cars. Unfortunately, 2 tires won and 4 tires didn't, and so we'll you know, take our 3rd place, best finish we've ever had here.
Well, the defending Winston Cup champion, beaten by pit strategy, but gave it his best effort, guys.
And the 77 car of Dave Blaney finished 7th today. Boy, you seem like you had a rocket ship in the first half of that race, but just fell off in the second half. What happened?
Well, I don't know. You know, we tightened up a little bit in the middle of the race and couldn't ever catch up to it. We were so good early. We had to make big changes on it, so we were trying to sneak up to it and never caught up. But man, I thought we had something for him the first half of the race on the long runs, and we just got a tick off there in the end. We could still hang, but we couldn't gain ground. But solid day for the Jasper guys. I was proud of them, Brian and everybody.
Another good run for this race team. Do you feel the momentum building headed to one of your best racetracks in Homestead?
I don't know. We just, you know, you do all you can do every weekend, and man, we had a really smooth, good weekend. We qualified good in race practice, good in the race, and you know, you have weekends like that. You say, man, oh man, this isn't so hard, but
but it is.
But it is, and it just makes you appreciate the good ones, but even more.
And a great weekend for Dave Blaney. Comes home 7th here at Phoenix. Alan.
Here's our Pepsi race recap. What happened today in 500 kilometers at Phoenix? Well, 100,000 plus fans got a good soaking of sun. Tony Stewart tried to protect his lead in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship to start the day. Early action now. First caution, Jamie McMurray, Ken Schrader get together. McMurray winds up catching a piece of the outside wall off turn 4. He would continue, but later drop out of the race. This is pit road on the first stop. Kenny Wallace and Kurt Busch getting together. Taryn Wallace's left side door. Dale Earnhardt Jr. under the green with a massive lead at lap 118. Runs out of fuel. Comes out 13 seconds behind the leader. Caution here for Scott Whmer. After he and Robbie Gordon got together, watch Tony Stewart, the championship leader, just slip through. We move ahead now. Rusty Wallace trying to get a spot from Kurt Busch. That was for the race lead. Little close call there. Tony Stewart's car, the handling just kind of went away in the late going, faded back, lost a number of positions, came off of pit road after the final stop in the top 5, wound up finishing in the 8th position. Here was the big crash of the day. Christian Fidipali and Jason Leffler getting together. Fidipali pounds the wall in turn 3. He was okay. Matt Kenseth's team took 2 tires on a stop at lap 259. He got away from the field on the restart, ran off and hid to his league best 5th victory of 2002. That's the Pepsi race recap. Matt, how about Kurt Busch's day?
Well, he led the most laps, and unofficially, you moved into 3rd in points, Kurt.
It's almost scary because we're only 9 out of 6th, so we're going to keep running like we have, and we had a great car today. It just didn't match up with that last set of tires. It was a bit disappointing, but yet we've shown time and time again that the Rubbermaid Ford can usually adapt to different tire sets, and we had a great set of tires when we didn't pit, and that's when we led a lot of laps. That's when we stayed out front. That last set, I made an adjustment to tighten the car up, but it went loose on us. So that was why we fell back a little bit. You know, it's great to see Mark Martin competing like he is, and I'm real happy with the points day we had. It's on the Homestead, and it's going to be a doozy down there. I'm real excited about it. Hopefully we can run strong and grab that 3rd in points.
Now, you have to be excited how this team has really come together in the second half of the year.
It's like a perfect blend of chemistry everywhere, whether it's on the pit road, at the shop. I'm just so impressed with the way these guys have been able to adapt to me and the way Jimmy Finney controls the situation. It's just too much fun. And with Matt Kenseth winning today, congratulations to him and all of the Roush teams. Top 3 last week in the pit stop challenge. There's too much to smile about, but yet we've got a lot of work to do next week.
They have a lot of momentum and going to another flat track.
Kurt talked about that tight fight for 3rd place in the NASCAR Winston Cup standings. Check it out. 3rd to 7th, difference of $500,000 in money.
Unbelievable. 230 to 253.
And 3rd to 6th, 9 points between them. That's going to be fun to watch next Sunday at Homestead. A little bit deeper into the standings. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just outside the top 10. Remember, only the top 10 get on the stage at the awards night up in New York City in early December, so there's a little pride on the line there. So Matt Kenseth has won today here in Phoenix. Tony Stewart has hung on to the championship lead. Final thoughts from here after we check in at the Sun America Sports Desk in New York. Here's Matt Vasgersian. Next weekend, the final weekend of NASCAR action. You'll see it both Saturday and Sunday on NBC. Ford Championship Weekend from Miami, 1:30 Eastern Time for the NASCAR Busch Series, and the Winston Cup Championship deciding race next Sunday. Don't miss it. So Tony Stewart goes to Homestead at a track he's won 2 of 3 races at that have ever been run with an 89-point lead, 22nd or better. Piece of cake, right?
Yeah, piece of cake, but no, it's not a piece of cake because anything can happen to stock car racing, and Tony Stewart and that entire crew are going to Miami with thoughts of winning the race and the championship. And when you win, you've got to get closer to the edge, and sometimes you go over the edge.
What do you think?
I think he's right.
Think he's right?
I think you're right.
Nice you can add to the conversation.
Yeah, and anything can happen, and all it takes is one mistake. One mistake, and that's it. It could take him out of the championship. May not even be his mistake. Maybe somebody gets into him and turns him, or something disastrous can happen. So he's going to be on pins and needles.
I don't care how bad Tony Stewart and team want to put their poker faces on next weekend. It's like Game 7 of the World Series, and the manager puts the ball in your hand as the pitcher. The tension is there, the pressure's there, and it's going to be exciting to see.
You can see it in all their faces, in their eyes.
Next weekend at Homestead, the Winston Cup Championship will be decided. Look forward to it next weekend.
I know it ain't so fun being all alone, and I